are gone itself too. So it's not genetic.
Damn.
So these are the things I've been practicing
Did
on
you
for the last
say
40
10
years.
minutes of exercise a day?
10 minutes, that's all you need. If you look at my routine, that 10 minutes is better than a lot of people going to the gym for 2 hours. I boxed for almost 22 years. And I guarantee you, you do my 10 minutes of exercise, you'll feel like you've been in the gym for almost 2 hours.
Jay's in the right place in that home with 34 people. Like he'll knock their ass out.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
Well, what do you do in those 10 minutes?
I do bag, 80-pound bag. That's number one.
heavy bag, nice.
The best exercise without any equipment that's ever been made is jumping jacks. And I know people don't like to do them, but I'm telling you, outside of swimming, it's one of the best. And I can tell, Sarah, that you do exercise because I can look at your neck. If you look at my neck, I'm a very slim guy. I'm 6'2", 190 pounds, but my body's slim, but my neck is thick. So I can tell you do a lot of exercise. So I know you ain't tricking me on that right there. But I'm telling you, the most simple things that we have in life, if we learn how to approach it, we can do a lot better with our health. And really, a lot of people praise me, and I know I got a little gray coming out. I don't have a receding hairline or anything. I'm telling you, most of this is not genetics. I started working on myself about 40-something years as being a stuntman actor. And one of the greatest things I ever did was talk to Dick Gregory, and he gave me some nutrition advice that has been helping me out throughout my years.
Wow, that's impressive.
Good stuff.
Sarcastic
Good
with the
shit.
big five says, I still think Ryan has his thumb up that dog's ass. Leave that
Such a
dinner
gross thing to
alone.
say. I hate when you guys talk about
We,
Umbreon like that. It's
we
so
love
mean.
Umbreon. Hold on, let's do a doggy clip for a moment. Show them
Yes.
that cute little
Go. Here's the boy.
doggy.
The best boy in the world. So
Oh,
sweet.
I
he
see
I knew
is
Ryan.
he'd
so
have a
Almost a
boy.
year old. He'll be a year next month. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, look
I
This
see
is
Ryan
Bowser,
wanted
but
some backup today. I see you wanted
That's
some
right.
backup today, Ryan. We're gonna be no fight today, though.
at
Well, I mean, I did come to put the heat on a little bit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I mean,
We
we'll see.
expected it.
So I didn't watch the whole panel, first of all, and I'm also not super educated on a lot of the topics that were touched on tonight. But there's one thing that I am loosely aware of, and that's this shift from the federal to states in terms of like social programs and Section 8 housing and stuff like this specifically.
Right.
And my understanding is that these programs were they are in the process of being cut by about 40 to 45%. That will be codified by the big beautiful bill, which is but if you ask me. But if like Lumberjack, you were saying, I don't know if you addressed this already, so
no worries.
let me know. But
Yeah,
if you're talking about how you were earlier when I tuned in, you were saying that in the states, this stuff being closer to the ground, that's going to be more effective. But if they're cutting half of that budget before sending the money back to the states, it sounds like that the resources that were there are getting slashed before. So it doesn't feel like that's actually getting closer to the ground. It feels like it's just slashing the resources either way.
Yeah, so I think that a majority of that slash is coming out of that. I can tell you that it's very administratively heavy. So the way that and again, I can only speak to my state because I only speak from experience. So I can tell you that I have 5 towns I do business in, 5 towns/cities, nothing bigger than 30,000 people. And out of those 5, you have 4 housing authorities, 4 separate housing authorities. On top of that, and that's just in the 5 that I'm in. So that's the first thing. Second thing is there's a lot of administrative doubling right there that could absolutely go away that would not impact course or caseload or anything. The bigger concern that I have is so when I have a problem at one of the local levels, then we go to a federal employee. We go to federal employee 1, and they would manage, let's say, 5 areas. Then I go to federal employee number 2. They manage 5 of those people that manage 5 of those areas. Then I go to employee number 3. They actually manage a region. Then I go to employee number 4 up the ladder. They actually manage a state. And so the problem that you have is that you have these 4 layers, and that's for every single town going up that route. That means that there's a lot of administration that's occurring there that just doesn't need to occur if you bring it down to the states. Then you can have oversight just from the federal side. which I think will be far more effective and efficient, because that's where the issue is. So I think a lot of those cuts are coming based on the review of how much administrative burden there is within this organization. So that's where I think most of it's going to come from. So I wouldn't be in favor. Any of the vouchers, I have no problem with no growth of the program, but I do have a problem. Obviously, I don't want people having their housing taken away, but there's a massive overgrowth of administrative burden that's associated with this process and this system that's federally held.
Okay, so do you think the infrastructure is in place to transfer that over in the way you described?
Yeah, it is definitely. Yeah, it definitely is.
All that stuff is already in place. So
really,
there's 50% of the budgets can be taken away from the states right now, and everything will just be fine. Like people aren't going to.
I'd say absolutely not.
Yeah, so I don't have a crystal ball, but I can tell you based on firsthand experience, I can tell you that a lot of those federal layers, I've never actually seen them do anything. I've seen paperwork from them. I've seen emails from them. I've never actually seen them effectively do anything. So I don't know what the magic number is. I don't know if it's 25.
We just have to take your word on that, right?
Yeah,
I can take your word on it, but you don't have any experience, so it kind of doesn't work, right?
You know what?
But still, the thing is, if you cut 30%,
how would you know? How do you know?
No, I said I'm giving you a random number. If you cut 30% of the program, because it goes back to the states, because the states don't have enough money to allocate like the federal government does.
No.
And
that's
it
not
varies
how it
by state. It varies by
it
state. Okay, here's the thing. Well, okay, let me finish my thing and you can say your thing. So, if it goes back to the states, and obviously every state is not created equal.
Of course.
I have a theory for that. Let me see if I can fix panel volume.
Because the states can't take on the burden of all the federal subsidy for this, essentially. That is just
yeah, I can see
evaporate.
It. Definitely better.
Now, states have to make cuts, like you mentioned, cutting different administrative portions of this. But
why do the states have to cut from federal?
No, talking about, the bureaucracy of it. I'm talking like if you have 10 people working on the same thing, you're gonna have to make some cuts.
But see, Silver, that's the problem, is that you don't know what you're talking about because you haven't experienced it. So I'll tell you. The issue isn't on the state level, on the efficacy of the state level. The issue is all the overburden from the feds and all of this extra layer of this approval, that approval, this rule, that rule. If you put it down to the states, they will find they're like water. States are like water.
I could listen to you and I could listen to you, Silver, and Radical argue for a while, but the root of the issue we can get to real quick is once you cut the funding from the federal government, how do you reallocate that to the states? That's essentially the thing that we have to get to right now.
Exactly like you would for a business. You take a list of points of the things that are important, you measure how well the states perform them by an objective metric, and then they get allocated that federal funding based on how well they do. It's not like okay, California.
Typical Biden's administration.
To do. No.
The city is doing it already. Oh, let's look at the difference between federal Section 8 and state Section 8. They are run totally different.
They would completely different. And the value of the state running it, Silver. The value of the state running it is the fact that the states
have an increase in homelessness or a decrease in homelessness.
Now, listen what I'm saying. But listen what I'm saying is,
yeah, you should have been listening to the debate to answer that question.
At the very least, can we interject one at a time, please?
Okay. So what let's get a point where we're fighting about then. Okay, so just take, we got in LA where I'm at, we got city Section 8, we got state Section 8, and then we got federal government Section 8. Federal government Section 8, you can move anywhere in the country, okay? If you get that voucher, all right? But city is ran totally different. And I'm telling you, the requirement, the boards is overseeing it and everything. They don't have layers and layers and layers and layers. They have a policy, they have a line is drawn, and that's the way they go at it. When you start getting into all the red tape and bull crap, as far as federal government, the guidelines, different fashions coming in, when he said earlier that Red Cross only gets 7% of the $100 that you send them, that's what he's talking about. You're not listening at. So when you do cut this budget, you're cutting off these administrations and you're sending this money directly to the city or the state. So really, they're getting more money.
Yep, agreed.
Well, I hear that, but I feel like
Red Cross is a private organization, by the way. So private business essentially is wasting the money.
Yeah, but they're using it as an example as an organization that's just completely screwed up. Yeah, wasting money for no reason.
Red Cross isn't a non-for-profit.
The study
Yeah,
that's
but it's private. It's still a private entity.
Jesus, dear God, yes, dear God, indeed.
Dear God, whatever, Silver. You have no credibility.
I guess
This is gonna be a good one.
My frustration with that stat is that it feels like we're implicitly saying that 93% is unnecessary and could just be wiped away and still have the same efficacy.
Exactly.
Ryan, whoever said that?
Yeah, we're not saying that. We're saying eliminate it from the government and give it to the states. The states would do the money better.
Don't get mad at me for saying you said that. I didn't say that.
Hold on. He was asking Ryan, not panel. He was asking Ryan. Please let Ryan continue. Thank you.
My bad.
Yeah, so I didn't accuse you of saying that. I'm saying that's what it feels like the implication is. And can you feel free to correct me? Like, how do we know that 93% isn't important, isn't actually allocating these things in an important way? Like, you seem to be implying that it's not, that all that money could just go straight to it with the same efficacy. But would you acknowledge that efficacy is likely to go down? Like, the money is going to be less effective?
No, I would tell you that if I'm paying 93% for admin, I'm telling you that your business is run shitty. If 7% of what I'm giving is actually reaching the target destination, you fucking suck at running that company. You suck at it. And you frankly should fucking give up.
Yeah. Well, I would say this seems like a very reductive way of analyzing what they're doing, right? Because if 93% if 93% of that money is going towards making sure that 7% of the money is being used in a really positive, in an ideal way, that seems like a potentially good thing.
That's really
I love that.
The administrators.
I love that. Oh my God.
I mean, like,
we're gonna do
it's
a little.
convenient or whatever. You say it's dumb, but like, correct me. Like, explain why it's not necessary.
We're gonna do a little speed date with Silver and Landlord. We're gonna let them. We're gonna give them a few minutes and let them have some fun.
Okay.
Silver, hit.
Can I start? First, I want to start out with this. Lumberjack, I am actually a fan. I know we have a history.
This will be entertaining.
I'm actually a fan.
Now we just get to sit back and watch. All right, that's what this is.
I have no idea who he is, honestly.
We just get to sit back.
Well, okay. Well, you've
and be
engaged
entertained.
with me many times. I've been watching you,
okay,
Zuber and Dion for a long time.
Okay,
I'm a member of Dion's Financial Freedom thing.
Okay.
So, but anyway, aside from that,
okay,
I will say regarding Section 8, because where we mainly disagree is usually political linked. I don't really disagree with you on the actual housing or on rental stuff generally, but regarding Section 8, if the way that the current administration,
the problem is, all right, the problem is
sending it back to the states.
They think that they're going to get their points across. That's not going to happen, okay? The fact of the matter is, you should just accept that these people are willing to give money to public housing, all right? Let's not talk about the fact that if you eliminate the federal government, you know, because, all right, this is the argument, right? Eliminate the federal government and let the states decide who's getting funded, right? Well, okay, if you eliminate the federal government from deciding where the money goes, then the federal government just gives the money to the states and the same shit happens, right? I'm not sure they realize that, like, they're arguing for what it already is, and I'm not sure even Silver realizes. Actually, no, Silver and Radical Coder definitely don't fucking realize that. That's why, like, I'm not gonna fight. These people are on my side. They want my policy. This is good. Okay, everybody's on the same side, all right? Even if you, quote-unquote, eliminated the federal government's choice in HUD housing, the money's still going to go to the states. It's still going to go to the same spot. It doesn't fucking matter. All right, so, you know, this is an entertaining experience, fun for the whole family. That's all it is. We just get to sit back and watch a lefty fucking embarrass themselves, even though everybody is arguing for the same thing. And that's what America is all about, okay? That's what this is fucking about.
You're going to increase prices, which would deter people from shopping at Walmart. Therefore, we would you would want investment back into the U.S. by bringing up manufacturing here and sourcing products that are made in the U.S. So if he doesn't want that, that goes against everything that he supposedly was fighting for. So that's the exact outcome of what tariffs would do and should do if you're going based on what he stated.
Wait, how the fuck are we talking about tariffs?
How could you get mad at Walmart?
Where the fuck did we just go?
What he stated they should do from the
I don't remember turning down this road. What the fuck is happening?
Let's keep it real. He raised tariffs to 100.
Why are we talking about tariffs?
crazy, and that's not even reciprocal.
What did I miss?
And China showed restraint by not.
You take a
even
hit of the
raising
vape and you come back and they're talking about fucking tariffs?
Back to the table because he said they were going to blow up, call his phone and keep on trying to negotiate, and they didn't do that. They said, you know what? We're going to be.
I feel like I missed something really important.
If you want to come meet us, feel free to come meet us.
And homie just.
Then before we even negotiate with you at all, you're going to have to lower those tariffs, and that's what he did. So he did chicken out on that.
Yeah, okay, that's the yeah, we need less government. That's what radical retards need to understand. Less government is a good thing. We have too much government, all right? We need to actually take the government we have and like fucking it's like looking at a server, all right? You have like 2 feet of extra Ethernet cord and you just need to cut the 2 feet of Ethernet cord. And it's just the fact that you have some lazy ass fucking IT guys that don't want to cut the Ethernet cord, all right? That's all we need. We just need a little bit of the Ethernet cord to be cut, and we have a nice clean server room. That's it. Okay, we have the tools. We have the technology. We can do this.
Have you ever had a group of people?
It can be done. We have it. We have done it. It has been happening every day. All right, every fucking day it happens. Every day, me and your mom happens. That's what happens. Every day.
You do like to go there. You do like to go there. I have 153 units. You have 5. I have this much this, you have this. I don't want to go there. Just stick to the policy.
So if you want to get 5 units, listen to Silver Eagle. If you want to get to 153 and be a baller, listen to me.
There you go. Be a baller. Dude, be a fucking baller, bro.
That's why I say it's like you talking about menstrual cramps.
That's why I say
you know about as much about one as I do about the other. You don't know what you're talking about.
Listen, I would back that statement up.
I was an executive.
He actually probably knows more about menstrual cramps.
Bravo.
Shush. I was an executive for over a decade and negotiated many multi-million-dollar deals, grew many companies, saw massive growth within organizations, and so I know what it takes to actually negotiate a deal. And someone that owns a few rentals has no idea what it takes to run a country.
Congratulations.
Listen, you can sit there and say that all you want. All you do is sound indignant. Dude, you took a hard left.
He sounds like a bitch.
You could actually make a point, and you started
a fat ass pussy. That's what he sounds like, all right?
Like, come on,
fat ass lips on this pussy ass motherfucker. That's what we seeing. That's what we seeing right now.
All the people that I remember make actual valuable points.
Big old bitch.
I made a point that you're not addressing. You think he did a good job rolling out tariffs?
Yes, I do. I think he's running them exactly the way that they should be run. He's using them as a negotiation tactic every single time he does something.
No, that's cap. Please, bro. I don't want to fight you.
Dude, really?
All right.
Really?
I draw the line at a landlord that supports terrorists.
And getting your Rachel Maddow haircut with matching glasses.
I don't like Rachel. I don't like Rachel Maddow. First off.
Yeah, clearly you do.
No, I don't. Dude, I just said I don't. I really actually.
You already own the lip cuck position, so you're getting compared to Rachel, and you're going to accept that. You're just going to get compared to Rachel and be fucking pissed in the mouth. That's what just happened.
I know. I need you to answer the question.
The entire fucking night, Rachel Maddow. That's what this little fuck is now. He's Rachel Maddow.
Here's the thing. Do you think so far since he's put in tariffs that that revenue to the United States?
Why are we talking about tariffs?
It factually has. Look at how much they collected in tariffs. Look at the number.
Because the only reason why is because people had to push their imports forward. Going forward, there's going to be less imports to the country. What are you talking about?
Stop talking about tariffs!
Let's not do this.
Tell me.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Stop it!
Kicked out of me. I wouldn't want to do it either. So I get why you're yelling, Uncle. I get why you're looking at your corner to have him throw in the white rag because that's all you got, bro. It's weak.
Hello. Let's stick to the facts. Let's talk about China. Has China come to the table yet?
Stuck to the facts, and you fell.
This is the worst fucking tariff conversation I've ever heard. Okay, and I had the conversation with Flow State. This is awful.
Look at what the new tariffs are.
No, not what they are. Tell me what concessions
he's fucking farming. It's incredible. It's awful. Why the fuck are we talking about tariffs?
Answer the question.
I'm answering the question. You're too stupid to understand. I can't use smaller words.
What concession has he gotten from China?
Dude, You want to stick to the facts, but you don't have any, so I can't do that.
You
You want to
answer-
talk about
clearly
all
you
the
can't answer
damage that the tariffs have done, but you can't do
Motherfuckers
that
are
either.
throwing shade in the
I just
side
told you
chat,
what-
all
I
right?
told
That's
you
how
what
bad
damage
this
the
is.
tariffs
Even
have
in
done.
What's the
Sarah's
damage?
side chat
Teach
in
me, because all I
backstage,
heard was the
shade is getting
massive
thrown.
billions
Why
upon
the fuck are we
billions of
talking about
dollars
tariffs?
given on tariff in May.
First off,
First off, second off, third off.
It's fucking friendly neighbor too. I'm pretty sure he's like lefty adjacent, all right? Shade is being thrown in the fucking side chat. This is crazy.
The United States dollar has lessened, okay? So therefore, interest rates have to go up on the treasury bonds to entice people to buy them. First off, The
Oh, is
stock
that how
market-
it works? Thanks for your help.
Oh, well, I'm glad to educate you anytime. And
Yeah,
then-
I mean, thank you. I mean, who wouldn't
secondly-
want 5 rentals when I have 153? Who would want to do the 5-way? 5 is so much better than 153.
True.
Look at that, man. You are,
It's a
you are
nice
so- your
little-
ego is just damn
It's a nice number,
Dude,
5.
It's not ego, it's facts.
It
When
is-
I
You can
wanna
count on
go
one
to
hand.
Aqua,
It's
when I
like
go to find
5.
out how to run, I
It's like a
don't ask
$5
somebody in a
footlong from
chair.
Subway that doesn't fucking exist anymore.
So you subscribe to the fact that, oh, you run a business, you must be able to run the country, no problem. You must
Wait.
be perfect.
No, you
Wait, we're coming back.
You think you can run a country because you have 4
I didn't
fucking
say that.
rentals.
I never said
What the
that.
fuck
We're
is
back.
the punchline?
I never said that. I never said
Hey,
that.
just stick to the
I never
facts.
said
I just don't have any of those. It's an inconvenient
I
truth.
never- What are you talking about? Did I not just tell you
You
that
didn't,
investment in the
dude.
United States has decreased?
Time to go molest your cat. Like you're
Oh,
done.
wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Like, honest to
I
God,
think there's some valid points.
That's kind of wild. There you go.
you don't have
me
any
the
valid
concession-
points.
tell me the
Tell me,
concession.
I asked you, Silver Eagle. I'll use small words. How much money did the tariffs bring in May? Tell me the number. Go ahead.
Hey, it might have been a lot, but
It might have been. It could have been a lot.
They're not working.
Hold on.
They're not
How much
working.
Investment.
From who?
Excuse me, lumberjack.
got
lumberjack, I got a question for you.
Why were we talking about tariffs? Why did that happen?
Because he had no other points on the other.
Yeah, that's not good. I wouldn't have talked about that. Don't bring that up, okay? That's rule number 1.
Excuse me. First off, how much divestment has happened in our treasury bonds due to these stupid ass tariffs?
Oh yeah, they're horrible. Yeah, it's awful. Like all of these auctions are failing. Oh wait, none of them have failed yet.
Tell me. You still haven't told me what concession China has made.
I just
United
told,
States.
dude, bro.
No, you did not. You did not.
I did.
What concession has China made to the United States? Tell me.
Look
name
at
one.
look at the billions of dollars. Try
No,
to understand
what
how much
concession
money
China
we
has
spend with
made?
China and how much money China spends with us.
No,
And so
sir,
when you
sir,
get the
that's-
same number on
you're-
400 billion versus
you're
40
avoiding-
million, it's a
you're
big
avoiding-
fucking difference, dummy.
You're avoiding it. You're avoiding it.
Dude, I'm not
You're giving
avoiding
them
you. You're retarded. I can't help you.
No.
There's nothing to avoid when you don't ask a substantive question, okay? I hate to say it. I don't even like tariffs, and this is awful. You're doing terribly. Just stop, please.
Exactly. Live up.
Like, I disagree with him, okay? But I'm not going to talk about tariffs right now, because, like, fuck. You know, I actually want to do research because I'm not a fucking economist, right?
I love the way white people fuss.
You got Silver Eagle,
on my
you
channel
got,
anytime.
you got 10 minutes in the back. You've been booted and replaced.
You can always
with-
put it down 100.
You don't talk about tariffs. It's as simple as that.
I mean, honestly,
Silver Eagle, you can
question.
always do the
Just kidding,
manly
Doug.
thing and just go ahead and throw down 100 and buy the panel.
And the Single Dads Club comes in with a big 10 to say, awesome, Sarah. Thanks for the update. You're most welcome. Bree sends a big 5. Lots of love to Sarah. Gave me the idea. The Pissed Off Pickle Debate Channel. You know, that's not a bad idea. I wonder if Andrew would be angry if we utilize the pickle jar as our profile picture,
I think you
or
should
maybe an
definitely do it.
olive.
It should be
jar,
considered
maybe
at the very
something like
least.
that. Yeah, I
Poor
think we
Andrew.
should-
That's the biggest L he's ever taken.
Oh, geez.
No, it's not.
Stop.
You haven't watched my debates with him.
I've seen at least one, and I'm confident that you got clapped.
Sound off.
Who's the meth head?
Sarcastic Warlock with the big 5. I propose we end Section 8 and move people who can't afford homes to work camps. We pay for their food, housing, and they work.
That's
Everyone
simple. There
can
you go.
do it.
They can make modems and things like that. Yeah, great idea.
They already do that.
It's a
called
practical idea. I like it.
It's
Zeke.
called prison.
Exactly.
Oh.
Oh my God, that would actually.
Anyway, so I got.
Hey, prisons do it. It works for them.
My viewers, I
Don't
want to
do
let
it,
my
Sarah.
viewers know that a boot doesn't bother me because a few of them seemed like, wait, why'd you get the boot? But and to that, I'd say I like turtles. But
There you go.
I may have confused what point I was trying to make. If you're
Wait, hold
Granny,
on,
let's say,
hold on, sirs. We need a full. I like. turtles.
Thanks. No, if you're, let's say your
No,
granny
no,
decides
I
at some
want you
point
to
in her
say-
life,
I want you to just say, "I like turtles."
I like turtles.
This is like this is the Joey spinoff. That's what you're watching right now. This is the
Granny,
Joey
let's say Granny
spinoff.
At some point in her life, she's doing
Yeah,
well.
I
She's
am
got
farming a little
business,
bit, just a
she even
little,
passes
just a
away with
tiny,
this business, let's say.
tiny
And
little
she
bit.
has
But that's
business,
okay.
she's
We all
doing well.
farm.
She ends up buying a
Yeah, a
home,
little
which is
bit,
like,
just a
let's say $100
little
million,
hard farm. That's all
and
we're doing.
She only can pay throughout her life, or $200 million, and she can only pay throughout her life $100 million of that. Now she.
Did he blank out?
I think
No,
he might have
they-
confused
I believe
us at
so.
one point.
I don't think he
That
was
is
sorry.
actually not good.
Given you through the.
He's back.
Given you
Jersey,
the estate. Hold
somewhere-
on, hold on.
You,
She's
can you
given
go back? No,
she's-
you cut off. Your
She's
audio.
given you
your
the
audio,
estate.
Bro, shut
Hello.
up. Shut up. Your audio cut out. Can you go back and say
Oh,
what you said?
sorry.
again?
Yeah, I got you.
Do you?
It might be a little jumpy.
You really want him to repeat that?
So she's given you the estate. Am I still jumping around?
No, you're good. You're good.
You good?
Okay, so she's given you the estate, and you now owe $100 million on that estate. Now you also owe on the estate. You're going to pick up her business, so it might be, let's say, let's say $500,000 or so, $500,000 or so. And you don't have the money to pay $500,000. So you have two choices. You can either accept the estate or not accept the estate. If you don't accept the estate, that all goes defunct, all goes to shit pretty much. So it's not necessarily anybody forcing an estate on you. There's no one that force an estate on you. You either claim the estate or let the estate fail.
Dude, I don't know why you're turning yourself into human origami.
I mean,
for
he
this,
kind of gives
but
that
the fact of the matter
vibe,
is, it's a
but
fucking
like,
contract, and that's the period
he's
in
the type of guy
story.
you don't
It's a
want to fuck with
contract.
at the same
I'm
time. I
looking
wouldn't
for
fuck with
30 days
Ducky.
pay. That's it. I'm just looking because that's what the standard is for everybody else. That's it. Period in the story.
Right, you don't have to accept it.
I don't have to accept what?
He's the guy at 3 a.m. You don't know if he has a switchblade
Oh,
or
you're
not.
still
That's
talking about the
my
rental.
theory. Okay, you don't want to fuck
You're
with
still
him.
talking about the rental. Well, I don't think that a person who passes away in your rental that isn't aided by the state is held up to that same 30-day standard. So I don't understand why the person that is
Clearly
rental
not.
under the
That's the
state
point, dude.
should be held up to that 30-day extension. That is something that you choose, or not you
No,
choose.
that's
That is
something
something that
that
after you
you
die,
choose.
it's
That's what I
done. They're
choose.
not. The
the
state
state.
isn't your renter. The person who is renting
Let me
is
ask
your
you
renter.
this.
Sir,
Let me
the
ask.
eyes
Go ahead,
bleeding.
Greg.
Please stop.
What the fuck are we talking
I'm
about
sorry,
right now?
sir. I have-
Every
I got
every other
7
diatribe
more
sounds
hands in my
completely,
hand.
utterly retarded. I'm going to be totally honest. It's hard for me to focus.
He aged 10 years. Zers. So okay, let me ask you this: If
Zers is a
I die
retard. Okay, this will be the
tomorrow,
reason
do
I
my
leave the
bank
left.
account still collect in? Oh, hold on.
He died.
Must be
Dude,
his
that was
Wi-Fi. He
rude.
died.
Make
if-
sure that
if-
nothing's pausing
It's a-
it. There we go.
If I die tomorrow, do my bank accounts still collect interest?
Yes,
like
yes.
what
To
they-
anybody that wants to pick up the estate, for
Why-
anybody that wishes
why-
to pick up
why-
the estate.
why-
If it doesn't
why
get
not?
picked up, then it goes
Hold on
defunct.
for a second. Why do my bank accounts still collect interest?
We're gonna teach them
That's
what
a
contract
very
means.
deep question.
This,
that
that,
I can't
and
answer,
that
but
is,
you're-
it's
you're-
almost philosophical in
I
a way,
can't
isn't it?
answer-
It's just
not
like
the-
all the
It's
rest.
deep.
Answer that nobody
why,
has to
sir?
continue that
You know why,
contract.
sir? Because I have a contract with the bank account, and until everything is removed and put into the estate and all those things, that bank account still acknowledges that that contract exists at that time. Okay, my money is still in that account.
Correct.
Yeah, I did. Like, it's not like I stopped collecting interest the day I die. You know, like
true.
everything, the ball still keeps rolling, unfortunately. I mean, it works in some people's cases, but it also has its downfalls as well. And what Lumberjack is saying is like that ball rolls for every other aspect except for if they're renting a home.
It doesn't roll for now. It doesn't roll forever because if the person,
Well,
if
no shit,
there's nobody to
Caroline,
collect the
he's
estate,
just
then there's
asking
nobody
for
to
30
then
days.
charge afterwards.
He's not asking for an extra 6 months. He's just saying a full 30-day
Notice,
like
it's all the same as the state requires.
notice.
I mean, but
Yeah.
if a monkey had balls and a zebra had a penis, then we would all
Wild,
have
all
a
right.
Scooter McDaisy head with a basketball. I think it's pretty
Don't they
clear.
both have
I don't
those
understand why everybody's laughing. This is pretty clear.
I suppose if you put it that way, it
That's
is.
the most intelligent thing that's been said in a few minutes.
Very true,
Well,
actually.
Let me follow that with something perhaps.
That actually made me think for a minute.
So I'm wondering. Oh, sorry. I'll let you do the super chat.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, Lumberjack, because I don't know the answer to this question.
Sure.
But I'm wondering if you would like stake your foot in the ground and argue that you believe. I don't expect you to have the exact numbers either. But would you, because you mentioned you're defending the 40% cuts and you're comparing it to like the 7% of money going to actually reaching people in need through like Red Cross, whatever. So would you like stake your ground that you suspect that about the 60% or less of like HUD funding is going towards rental assistance?
These guys are retarded and they don't even know how to put their own fucking shoes on, okay? They don't even know what they're talking about. So just watch the shit show, watch the zoo, okay? That's all I say. Watch the animals.
And from my perspective,
just to clarify, to clarify. So what amount do you think would be going towards rental assistance? Just off, like as a
I don't know what their administrative burden is on the state level, but I know my expectation is that that's exactly the number that they're looking at from a Doge perspective or from a cuts perspective, where they look at it and they say, right now we're spending this much money that's allocated on the federal level, and that's not touching the housing piece, that's not touching local administration on a local state level. And so then this is the number, and that's why we're actually asking to cut that number. So I wouldn't be against them lessening the 40% if that doesn't impact. But everybody's made this the boogeyman. There was, in the previous 4 years, in case you guys forgot, there was 4 years where President Trump was president. And with what he did with those programs, I know you're still traumatized over it. But
well, you said the
what
word
he
Trump.
did
He's going through PTSD.
I get it. Yeah, I totally get it. Like I mean, I get it. It hurts. But
I mean,
what actually happened?
Lives, but we can keep throwing like these kind of petty dabs, I guess, if we want.
Yeah, totally. Enjoy the next 4 years. I mean, I'm going to enjoy it.
I won't.
So what actually happened with what people said in the first 4 years of Trump versus what actually happened with housing was completely different. So what I want to see is, I believe that they've done the study and said 40%, we can reduce this program by 40% because 60% is what actually has to go for local administration and for the actual housing vouchers. I don't want to see vouchers cut. So I believe in whatever number that they've proposed, that they've done that homework, because I've run companies before. And so I have to trust people when I ask them a question that they've done the homework. And so if that 40%, if we find out that that's actually a reduction in 20% of vouchers, I wouldn't want to see that approved. He
doesn't know how to talk. He's going to continue to be butthurt. All right, that's his problem. He doesn't know how to talk. He's going to continue that way, and he deserves it. Actually, he really deserves it.
You would absolutely oppose the big beautiful bill.
Well, I wouldn't oppose the entire bill. What I would oppose is
at least that part of it.
Yeah, the part that I know about, I don't want to see vouchers cut for people because I know what that means, right?
Yeah, it means a lot more homelessness, right?
Yeah, no, not necessarily. It means, means
at least, and less money to you, people like you.
No, it doesn't. So you're wrong, Ryan.
Aren't most? You can correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't most housing programs on a wait list anyway? Like when it comes to housing vouchers or like any Section 8 anything, isn't there wait lists in most states?
Yeah. So the average wait list for
so these people are going to go homeless anyway.
Is 5 years. 5 years. Average. 5 years.
Yeah, okay, so if there's somebody today that's going homeless, that person's going to go homeless, like, regardless, because there's such a long wait to get into Section 8. It's not like you can just be like, all right, I'm in Section 8. Yeah, that's not how that works.
No, because, and to your point, Avius, what actually happens is that people actually have to fucking figure it out. Like Sarah,
exactly, yes. And it's difficult as fuck. And there's like lawyers and shit that'll help people through this process because it can be so difficult, especially state to state, because a lot of states have completely different processes. Because as you were bringing up earlier, there's sometimes multiple different housing authorities, and based on what even apartment you're trying to apply to, you might have to go through that specific housing authority and restart the entire process.
Can I pick up on this real quick? I have something I have to get out. And so, this is a really good point when we think about how hard the actual application process is. Additionally, how severe and drastic this type of, when we think of this type of, it's a home, right? Everyone should understand that, even if I'm not finding my own words. And so, you know, in some sense, it felt and it feels like what you said to Ryan, and thus far is that, you know, we aren't compassionate towards the people who are getting these homes, but instead we're compassionate towards you. I don't understand how a solution comes from that. Am I framing that correctly?
No.
Is that in the room of what you're talking about at all?
No, so you
can opt out. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, so you're making the supposition that it's a very difficult process to get an application. You're wrong. It's actually a 5-page application. Anybody can sit down and they can walk right into the office. They can fill it out if they don't have access to a computer. You can fill that out and then you basically submit it and you literally hand it right into the office.
So you didn't understand the assignment.
Sorry?
You didn't understand the question then, right? So
no.
So
I'm correcting
so we have bad
because
and we have bad application or easy applications. I understand.
You said it was very difficult to apply, and I'm telling you that you're wrong. It's not. It's a 5-page document that you can fill out with a pen and you can hand it in a local housing authority. The issue is because of the wait times, you can fill that voucher. You can fill that voucher out, that piece out. You're not going to get a call for a voucher saying, "Hey, we've got a voucher for you," because they take it in line. So there's no priority over who would get it. A mom with 3 kids that needs 4 bedrooms has no priority over, you know, Duck who needs a 1-bedroom. There's no priority listing there. It's all in line in which it came into the system.
In the cases where people will contact lawyers and things like that, or cases where it's like the VA has a specific law that states, well, this person's supposed to get priority housing or that person's supposed to get priority housing, but it's not like the HOA or like the HUD organization. They don't deal with that, right? This is a case-by-case base. That's why you could argue with them on your behalf. You could be like, well, this law blank here says that I get priority over these other people, so I shouldn't be on this wait list. But good luck with that. Odds are you're going to have to take them to court, or you're going to sit through the 5-year wait list.
I think Lumberjack, I think what they're having a problem with, I think what they're really having a problem with, and maybe you just have to use a simple word, you're just asking the federal government to cut out the fat.
Yeah,
that's all you asking.
That's it.
That's all he's asking.
That's it.
He's not saying he wants people to go homeless and he want to snatch.
No, he wants them all homeless. Okay, all of them.
Vouchers out of old ladies' hands in a wheelchair.
Hey, Speed, I don't understand that. I don't understand. So I understand the words, but I don't understand that. Does that make sense?
No, okay.
I want to.
Well, I'm a real simple person. I'm a F student. Most teachers would tell you, but I proclaim to be a D student. Okay. So I think me and you can get on the same level. Okay. So I'm going to break it down real simple. All right. So if you got 10 people, right? You got 10 people and you got 5 people. The 10 people represents the federal government, right? The 5 people represents the state. Okay. So you got 10 people that one application has to go through each one of these levels to get to the state. All right. And what Trump is saying, let's cut that 10 down to 5. Get that 5 to wait. Get that 5 to send the money over to the state. The state has already been operating on the 5. Right. All right. You understand what I'm saying? So what you did,
well, you don't need, but you don't need to talk about
let me finish. Wait. I'm old, so sometimes I forget what I just said. So don't.
We know he only looks 20, but
so I forget what I just. I forget what I just said. So what he was saying is, it would be no different in your own household. You take the simplest approach to cut your budget in your house. You know you lost your job. You know certain things you don't need. You understand? You don't need in your house, and then so you just cut that budget from the things you don't need. The necessity, the toilet paper, you need to wipe your ass. You know you cannot do that. All right. So only thing he's really asking is just to cut the fat. That's all he's asking from the federal government.
People, man.
Can I push on that a little? I'm just curious, because what if, and hear me out here. What if they're not just cutting the fat? What if they're actually cutting important things, and then people get fucked over because of that? What if that happens?
At this point, no, that would be good. No, I think that would be good, because we've had multiple donations tonight that have even talked about completely removing housing and things like that. Let's say what you're saying is right. We remove it and it's actually really bad. It's awful, and all the terrible things that you're saying is going to happen happens. Well, then we're in a position where we can fix it. Then we can clearly see the issue and we can address our resources to fixing that specific issue instead of trying to help a program that clearly isn't doing its job today. So like that's why I am pro public housing, right? But I don't think the system's working today. And even if Trump takes the axe to it, that's a good thing, because in a future Democratic administration, we're not having to fix the bullshit that's been broken for 60 fucking years. Yeah. We can start from scratch.
I guess it feels like a very privileged, it feels like a very comfortable take, like, right? Like it feels like
sure, you can say that.
Who might get shafted by these real cuts that might be unnecessary.
They always get shafted. It's a 5-year wait list. They're getting shafted today.
Using that word might.
You're saying more will get shafted, right? Can you own that at least? Right, real quick, Jay. Real quick, I'll let you go.
I already said we was against that. There's nobody up here saying that we want to snatch the necessity of a human being's life. So Ryan, let me try to make
what
it
I'm
more
telling
simple.
you is
right. Let me make it more simple. How many phones have you lost this year?
I understand you made this point.
No. How many phones have? I just want you to answer that question.
I'm not. It's not helping me understand this whole point.
Oh no. I'm just. It might be for someone else who might be.
I've lost 30 phones this year.
You lost 30 phones this year.
32 actually.
And how much did you pay for them?
$6,000 each.
$6,000 each. Okay. So you see, you are kind
Dude, we got fucking shade being thrown at Ducky. Is this the Ducky beef that I've heard about? The Neve Ducky beef? Fucking Crab donated saying that you broke up with him. Is this true? Fucking terrible.
It was dry.
You didn't want to answer my question because it made sense.
Ryan,
that's not why I didn't. Because it didn't. I heard you say it earlier, and I still don't understand why this is relevant to whether or not if we're not actually just cutting fat. I'm suspicious of. What I'm suspicious of is that we're not actually just cutting fat, and nobody's offering the explanation of why they're
do you believe the housing authority is overbloated?
I don't know.
How do you not know an answer to that? Yeah, why are you arguing if you don't know?
Why are people so confident cutting it?
Asking what
you have a guy.
They also don't know.
Oh, guys, the guy right there, Lumberjack, deals with this all the time.
Yes.
So he says, when he says, "I fucking know," he fucking knows. You just said, "I don't fucking know." So,
but he doesn't.
He owned it.
He understands everything about the federal policies and stuff. Like he said, "I don't know" to half the questions I asked. Stop.
When you're literally
do a little harmonica.
Asking the guy who is the subject matter expert, and then you fucking argue with the subject matter expert, you look like a bleeding idiot.
He said he doesn't know the answer to the questions I asked either. So we're all ignorant about that specific thing.
He did.
Ryan, I don't know that it's 40% or 38% or 42%. I
or 70% or 90%.
Right, but
you just don't know, right?
So but I've run big enough companies, Ryan, where I actually have employees that I have to trust that will do the right thing and that they're hired.
You feel like they're going to be doing the right thing.
Not feel. Hey, Ryan.
Yes, exactly. You feel like they're going to be doing the right thing, but really, they might just be doing the right thing for them.
A radical coder and just tapping away like a cowboy on a keyboard in my room.
Nah, keep tapping. Keep tapping.
Up and likes to read resources. Yeah, no, God forbid. God forbid. Instead of just taking the guy's word for it, because I own property, so you should take my word on everything.
Dude, I don't understand how you think you have any credibility.
My head hurts.
I'm not saying I do. That's the difference. That's the difference. I'm not asserting I do.
Ryan,
you're asserting that your credibility is worth more than anybody else.
But no, radical. You're acting like a radical psychopath.
Credibility.
I don't think so. I think I'm being fairly reasonable right now, actually.
Radical, he's pro housing. He's pro public housing. He's pro Section 8. Okay, I don't know why you're freaking the fuck out. The only thing he is saying is he's saying we need to cut the federal government. He's saying there's waste in the federal government, and you know what? Let's fucking do it. Let's try it. Let's cut the federal government out of it. Let's do it, okay? Because 60% of the fund will still be fine. 40% will get lost from the federal government.
Here's what I'm going to do. To the viewers in the chat, it's coming up to 1 a.m. You know what that means. If you want your next hour, if you want your DGen Power Hour, the goal has now been created. You have 15 minutes to make it happen. If you don't make it happen, I do go to bed. And in the meantime, Zers, can you kindly read this super chat nice and slow?
It puts the lotion in its skin, or else it gets the hose again.
Well done, mate.
I think I'm about to get backstage. Can I? But I just want to say one thing before I go backstage. Like I think that I admitted I don't know the answer to all the questions that I said, right? And so did Lumberjack, by the way. And I just want to point out that I don't see a single citation or anything that like he's mentioned. It's all anecdotes. It's all I've been in the industry and I did this X, Y, and Z. And not a single article, not a single. You can't direct me to anything.
It's all experience, guys. He read an article.
Daniel.
He read an article, guys. Okay, that's more powerful than hard experience.
I didn't say I read one. I asked for them.
He read two!
You know, in Ryan's defense, Lumberjack did state early on in this debate, when it was just Sarah and him, that he wasn't necessarily an expert on any of these subjects, or he didn't know everything on these subjects.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. I said my focus and expertise is in Section 8 housing, not other things that other social programs that Trump's working on. My specific expertise is the fact that I own 53 buildings with 153 units, and 17 of those are Section 8 tenants with 4 different housing authorities that I've worked with.
I just misunderstood exactly what you said.
I'm just trying to make sure that you correct, and I want to give you all the data. So it's what Grid said was,
please give us some of the data.
Half of the data. You know what you get?
Daniel McCoy sends in a Big Ten and says, if it goes back to each state, a lot of blue areas will go red because the citizens of those areas will start paying more attention to their local government officials. Abide, Duck. All right, Duck, you got some time in the back.
Hard to believe. You think they will learn.
I feel like we're trading out Silver Eagle for Duck, Eagle for Duck, Duck for Eagle. Is Eagle and Duck the same thing?
You people not like birds?
Only a Mr. Bill sends in a big 5, says honesty is the best policy. Coder, look it up backstage.
I will look it up.
Fair enough. You got 5 in the back, and then Joseph is back for more as well.
Oh no. And
then Daniel says with the Big Ten, oh no, Duck is mad at me. Here's 10 more minutes. All right. Duck got 20 in the back.
Oh, poor.
Don't forget, chat, to hit the grift. This is you've got 11 minutes to hit the grift. If you don't do it, I go night-night because, I got shit to do tomorrow too. Now, if you buy the next hour, it's worthy of me staying on. But you got to do it. You got to do it.
I will say that
before we go ahead, Grid.
Listen up, chat. We're gonna get going on shit talking Sarah here. Get your money.
I was Duck too.
Before we
go
get
ahead,
back,
Grid.
Thank you. I'm gonna jump out, guys. I've got to. I got to go to bed.
Grid, nice to meet you.
Hey man,
good speaking with you, Grid.
Come on my show.
Grid.
We'll talk,
yeah, I'd love to have you on.
Stuff. I do a daytime and a nighttime show, so we'll figure it out.
Sure.
Tomorrow night, Sarah, I'm going to just show my debate content, my panel tomorrow night, if you don't mind. Is that okay? Can I show my... Yeah, I'm gonna.
Oh, can you tell them about it? Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Grift away.
So tomorrow night, we're moving my debate panel show from Saturday night to Friday night, so that because I go shooting on Sundays and getting up early after being up at 4 o'clock in the morning and shooting guns seems
it's a bad idea.
Suboptimal.
And it could be fun.
So it has worked out, but I don't like doing it. So moving the show to Friday night.
I do want to know the drama.
Hold on, let him finish.
Can you give us a little bit of the drama behind it?
Oh my God,
Speakeasy is not
Joseph, buy a fucking headset.
Yeah,
Go to Best Buy.
I'm trying to get out of here, man.
He was eating it. It was very good.
It's a round robin, single elimination, debate, blood sport competition. Get 5 minutes. 1v1. We start with 10 contestants, and we end with 1. Starts at 8 o'clock tomorrow night, and it's going to be really cool.
That sounds
and
nice.
By the way, I just noticed the cunt just showed up back in the chat. Nice ducking you. He made some mean comments about me, and then I challenged him and I said, "Hey,
Who's
bring it
cunt?
on up here, bad boy, and we'll have a discussion." But you know what? You can find my channel with these. So if you've got something to say, bring it on over, big boy.
Are you talking about Hunt?
Comers. The hunt.
The Hunt?
The hunt.
But you're calling him the cunt. I like it.
Well, did I?
It sounded like it to me. That's
Freudian
why I was like,
I mean, that's how I always read his name, so that's fair. All right. It's a fair translation.
I'm all for
but
it.
anybody
whatever.
that's going to sit there and say, talk shit, and then when called out, won't back that shit up, can just fuck right off. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, come to my show tomorrow night. It's going to be awesome. It's the first one since I was away in Alaska. Saturday night, I'm going to do a chill stream. Sarah, you're welcome to jump on and we'll talk about Alaska and stuff.
I am having a date tomorrow night.
There you go.
Well, tomorrow night's not Saturday night.
Oh, Saturday. Oh, don't I have a debate Saturday night, I think?
I don't know what you're doing Saturday night. It's not. I don't keep your schedule.
No. My calendar is so fucking oh, no, wait. I will.
It's fine, sir. It's
Bratty
fine.
Tomato has a sporting event. If I get back late and I have nothing going on, I will absolutely jump on.
All good. You guys
So
have.
what do you plan to do on your? What do you plan to do on your date?
Bye, Grid.
Good meeting, everybody. We'll see you.
Great speaking, Grid.
I'm going out and getting a drink. Who's got the loud mic? Somebody's got a mic going hot or something. Yeah, I haven't been on a date in a long time, so why not? Okay, and more grifting is coming in. Peace Dynamo sends in 5, says sounds like a lot of admin work. Are you hiring, Lumberjack?
Honestly, just myself and my wife, we run the company and that's it. We have one employee and we have a bunch of contractors that we like to work with.
There you
Now,
go.
do you think that's more or less efficient than if you had like 15 administration staff? I'm just
It might
curious.
cost, friendly, it might cost.
Yeah, they don't
40%
like
less.
birds. Okay. Did you not hear that on the
Yeah,
panel? They don't like
mean,
birds.
Even I can agree with that.
All
I
right.
could, like,
It was like a parakeet. I like parakeets. I
you
thought
know,
it was.
delegate
I
my
thought it was
work
chill.
out, but it would cost.
I want to hear more from the
cost
parakeet.
me more money. You know, like you have to be selective. I mean, essentially,
The parakeet has been one of my favorite people on the panel to this date.
Revenue will hopefully pay for itself, right? Hopefully.
I mean, the idea for us is, you know, we try and run lean and mean because, to what Grid's point was, we want to control the process to make sure that we're doing the best that we can. But it also reduces our cost of management. So whereas there's a lot of other people out there that have the property manager and all these other things that they have to add to the cost, that's where the price of rents go up. So we get to keep them lower. And that gives us the ability to serve the need in the market, but we get to keep rents lower because we don't have nearly as much administrative cost.
I had to hit my vape. Okay. You wouldn't understand anything about that. That vape
find
energy.
out, because I have like 4 rental properties. Do you find out it's been more cost efficient lately in the last 10 to 15 years with the floating floors versus the carpet putting it in these places, or do you still use carpet?
No, it's
The
a great
parakeet
question. So we
might
actually
have
avoid
more
carpet like the
logic,
plague
but
when we actually buy
we would
a
have to
unit
have
and it
more of
has
the
carpet, we
parakeet.
take
But
it
like
out, because
they're
the biggest challenge that we find with
they're very
carpet
discriminating
is
against
there's a lot of
birds,
kids
so
that
it's
are
kind of an
sensitive to
issue.
stuff.
Oh
And
shit,
I've
we got
four kids. We don't want
we
the
got
kids getting
Radical back.
sensitive. You know, we don't want them getting outbreaks and all this other stuff and hives. And so what we actually do is when we buy a building, we actually rip out all the carpet, we rip out all the pad, we rip up all the tack strips, and we go in and we put brand new flooring in because it's much more hygienic. It's much easier to keep clean.
Right.
And then, you know, the second thing
Cost
too is
longer.
that it also allows us to typically let them have pets. So we like to have people that are able to have pets, and there's a lot of places
I
that can't
mean,
do that because they have carpet.
Fair
You
enough.
could say
I
that.
found out in just taking out the carpets, because carpets usually
Dude,
don't.
the
like when
fucking
you have
my
high
headphones
traffic
are just
areas, carpets don't
they
last
always
no
fuck
more
up my
than
hair.
about 3
Okay,
years,
that
really.
that's
I don't care if
we're
you
just gonna have to
get
work with that. My hair is gonna get
the
fucked.
floating floors works fantastic.
We
let me interrupt your floor talk here because there's not going to be a floor for any of us to stand on if you don't hit the grift. There are only 3 out of 10 super chats added in. You now have less than 5 minutes.
Dun,
Vibe
dun,
sends
dun.
a big 5 and says, "I'm cheap, but here's a little grift just so you can entertain me while I work." Fair enough, Vibe. Enjoy working and listening to us. I hope we keep you entertained. And this is a good time for panelists to pay your dues as well. These are your taxes. Of course,
Look, they can be the same thing, but
being on these panels too. But
one comes later and
I
the
think
other comes
the
first.
Super chatters, the chatters hanging out.
It's up for you to
down
figure
there
out
can,
which.
pay in your stead and give you a voucher. They could pay your rent voucher for being on the Tomato Show. Let them do it. Let them rip. But if you don't do it, we all go to bed in 4 minutes, and y'all know I love to hit that end button. So pay up, or we all go the fuck away.
Pay it
Carrie
up.
with the big 10. I don't know how someone can be so pessimistic when the wins outweigh the losses. WEIGH. When the wins outweigh the losses during his entire presidency. Just imagine where we would be if he didn't have 70% of the government against him. Trump derangement syndrome is real. And for the record, I also have a Trippy Cast and Jason Marinchuk hanging backstage waiting to come up. The only way we can get them up here is if you boot someone else. And you could boot that by sending a super chat right now. You only have 3 minutes. Might as well get something for your money. And long live liberty with the big 5 says free speech. And did anybody want to respond to this one?
Sure. I mean,
it's red.
I feel that's, I mean, you say imagine where we'd be. First of all, I mean, Trump puts sycophants in every position of government, especially this term. I mean,
This is the Radical Coder Show.
Reminder.
All right, just in case you weren't aware, this is the Radical Coder Show. That's what we're doing today. Just sit back, enjoy the Radical Coder Show.
The insurrection of January 6th, and he tried to put Matt Gaetz, the guy who was he had dirt on him for like hooking up with a minor. He was going to be the what was it, secretary, or no, he's going to be the
Attorney General,
whatever Pam Bondi is right now. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on that. But anyway, like and also he spent way more like Trump ridiculously overspent during his first term, and he's doing even more so now. The big beautiful bill is supposed to raise the debt ceiling. I don't know, like you act like there's plenty of reasons to be pessimistic. I don't know.
Also to piggyback off what Ryan said, he also put Pete Hegseth in charge of our national security. He basically just did all top secret violations, talking to everybody, sent it to a reporter, which is crazy. And I'm a Navy vet myself and had a clearance, and you would be fired. You'd be put under the jail, like doing something like that. But whatever, I digress.
Imagine if Hillary Clinton had done that shit.
Oh yeah, and also on top of that, Ryan just mentioned Trump's in his first term, he overspent by $2 trillion. His tax plan added $2 trillion to the deficit before COVID, 3 years before COVID, and that was his biggest accomplishment during his presidency. And I'd argue it was a negative accomplishment, which made rich people richer. I get it, but this time he's doing the same thing. It's even more. So I don't know how he's winning, or how him appointing 70% of whatever his cabinet or whatever the case is, how that's making America greater again. I don't get it.
And before anybody responds, if I may, the grift has been completed. Congratulations to all of you fine super chatters for keeping the evening up and rocking. I will drink my coffee and we will press on. Long live liberty, and with the big 5, free speech. Mrs.
Also
White Lady with the big 20 says, thank you, Jay, for the tips. You're right. Genetics only get us so far. You and Lumberjack were my favorite on the show. So entertaining. Glad to have you both.
There you go. I can agree with that.
We're going to give Jay his own Throwdown Thursday. Jay, reach out to me. Get me on either Insta, Twitter, or Discord, and we will set you up and give you your own Throwdown Thursday to have some fun with. Long live liberty really was cranking them out. US with another 5. Oops, I lost my cursor, keeps moving on me. Daniel McCoy in with the big 10. Don't know what the goal is, but here's for the grift. Buy Silver. Silver, you're going to the back for now. And that brings up our darling Trippy Cast, also dressed as a Dark Brandon this evening.
I'm Dark Brandon.
Oh boy.
Oh Jesus.
And long live liberty. Still sending the US just to hit the 5 donos again and again and again. Thank you so much. And Miranchuk sending the big 10 and says the blonde guy, he said it backstage because I asked him who he's booting. He said the blonde guy who hasn't said nothing. Well, which one is?
Try not to interrupt. Come on, I've said
that
stuff.
You can't do that. You have to. All right. You have to be an asshole. I hate to say it.
You gotta be asshole. All right. Oh wait, no.
It's hard for me too, but I find a way.
Oh, I'm not gonna interrupt.
You got to, man. A little bit, just a little bit.
He's mean. I'm scared after watching that debate.
So you got to do that.
Sorry. Can you shut up?
Yes.
That was Dark Brandon that responded. Jason, you have to tell me who to boot so that I can boot somebody to bring you up. So type somebody's name in. Blondie. Okay, you're going with Blondie too. Okay, so Blondie to the back for now until somebody else gets booted.
Hey, it's gotta be somebody. Who we're gonna pick?
Hold
We're gonna pick
on.
this guy or that guy? What are you gonna?
Long live liberty sends another 5. Say US, 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 US. And Sarcastic saying it with another 5. Nova's a Booba versus Balderson's dog. That's a tough choice, but I choose the Booba. Oh, and hi Nova, how are you? Silver Evil. Silver Eagle in the back for 5. Bye. Okay, and Silver Eagle, I'm going to add another 5 minutes to your time back there. But even at that, you won't even come up until somebody else gets boobed anyways. So, all right. Oh, wait. Somebody dropped.
You guys are racist and sexist and stuff. Because, like, that's what I said.
The internet might have just freaked for a second.
This is going to be really productive. Good.
And I was born in Abram because he's making me work like a slave labor,
No, that's not Trippy Gas guy. He turned you into a sex bot cartoon and it's offensive to me for some reason.
Hey, the cleavage is good for views, so keep it out. It's fine.
That's why I put it right next to me so I can.
So I stand at a little different spot with this. I agree that there's obviously government bloat. But for me, the biggest problem in the cost of housing is the regulations. Like I live in California. If you ever go down to some of these homeless camps, some of them get fairly elaborate. And they
kind of impressive.
Trash the whole thing. The people move 2 blocks away and rebuild it. Why aren't we just opening up the homesteading laws again? Let these people build a home.
Do you want to answer?
The government sticking their nose in it, like that, like a built home that they built, no matter how they built it, is better, worse than sleeping in a tent.
Do you want an answer to it, or do you want to just bitch about it?
I wasn't.
I want to hear an
done
answer.
talking.
Yeah, let's hear the answer.
That's fine.
Love you, Balderson.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll wait. Go ahead. I'll give you the answer to why the housing market is the way it is.
If you open back up the homesteading laws, let these people build homes. It's like that out in the mountains in Northern California. They took away all the regulations. People build their homes. That's a peacock, not an eagle, from the chat. People go out and build homes and they're able to afford them. You can suddenly buy land for $8,000. There's all kinds of different.
I just realized
in Northern California for $8 to $20 grand. You're getting a little 10-acre piece. You throw a house up on it and you live in it. Now you're not having to pay out your ass to go buy, like Lumberjack is talking about, these larger, fancier homes where the money is actually being made by these contractors.
Okay, here's a quick question. What substantiates the mortgage market? What is the mortgage market tied into?
Anybody?
Banking.
Oh, wait. No, I heard bonds. Bonds is good. Okay. So the bond market. So every time you take out a mortgage or insurance or any of these things that are going to go on for like 30, 40 years, when you take out a 30-year mortgage or 20-year mortgage, you know what it gets created is a bond. Essentially, this isn't exactly one for one how it goes, but if you take out, let's say, life insurance, your life insurance.
We about to hear some wild shit.
They'll create a
I think I know where this guy's going. This is about to get some wild shit from us. All right, absolutely crazy.
I let you talk nonsense. I'm going to.
And you're answering with stupidity. Homesteaders don't get a loan.
No, I'm not, because what you don't understand is the reason why they're never going to allow you to have homesteading bullshit is because of the bond market. Okay. So all your mortgages, all your insurance, everything that's tied to housing, the reason why you have a housing bubble that's kept at that level, the reason why they're making sure that you don't have easy access to building whatever you want to build, however you want to build it, is because of the bond market. That's it. The bond market is set to a 30-year price. So it has to remain that way. The reason why I can tell you this is if you go back and look at the British gilt market, which is gilt in the British UK market is the bond market. They had a correction in 2018 that showed that did a almost $3 trillion haircut on the British financial system. It almost destroyed the British financial system. Go back to 2018 and look at the 1% increase adjustment in retirement rates. That was connected to the British bond market. So a 1% adjustment in retirement rates and retirement funds made the British system have to readjust $3 trillion, okay, overnight. And there's no assets enough to cover it. The reason why the British are buying up all that farmland isn't because they hate farmers, isn't because of some weird socialist blah, blah, blah. I mean, you can have all these other things attached to it. Number one reason, they're trying to buy up assets to bulwark the bond market. This news is now hitting in Germany and in Japan. In Japan, the rice market is about to destroy the Japanese economy. Rice prices.
No,
Germany,
hey, they can go up by double every month.
I've been covering this for 2 years now. The Germany bankruptcy rates are finally catching mainstream news to the point where they're like, hey, Germany's bankruptcy rates are so absurd, it's now causing a secondary effect in the insurance markets. So their entire economy is about to collapse because of bankruptcy rates.
Is that personal bankruptcy rates, Jason?
It's everything. So
companies and personal and people.
They've been deindustrializing Germany for the last like 5-6 years. What happens is when you deindustrialize, I'll give you an example. There was a big chemical factory that just got deindustrialized, got shut down, right? Possibly bought up by the Chinese, we're not quite sure. Same thing with the German automotive industry is being bought up by Chinese. Okay, it's being sold wholesale. When that thing happens, they basically go insolvent. When BMW goes insolvent, they trigger a whole bunch of other cascading events because there's a whole bunch of bonds that are tied to BMW. They're not just BMW the company, but all their insurance rates are tied to that company existing. It no longer exists tomorrow. Suddenly, all those bonds go poof. They become insolvent, and everyone who's holding those bonds goes broke. We're talking trillions of dollars. We're talking about $4 quadrillion in the offshore bond market.
Unfortunately, there's FDIC protection, which then turns into that's going to burn.
Yada yada. Doesn't matter because we're talking about a European. We're talking about
that's something else.
This is international. So your protections in America is not going to protect the international bond market, and this is what we're starting to see. We're starting to see the big giant hemorrhage happening in international markets. Japan and Germany.
And
they're going to start selling off.
And it's happening in the U.S., but there's protections within the U.S. to help.
Yeah, but look at the FDIC. No, because Jason.
Unfortunately, if the bottom entirely fell out, then it would cost our country money. We could never create. I mean, we don't just create money, but we could never create enough money to pay for it. Well, you can't.
I create money on my screen every day. Sarcastic Saint comes in with a big 5. Zers or Ryan? Ryan, you really have no idea what you're talking about when it comes to Section 8. Wear the dunce hat in the back, fix the gap. But then again, I will argue back to that. Zers didn't even understand why it wouldn't make sense to get a 30-day leave notice if you stochastic decay. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Most certainly.
Yes, the stochastic decay.
In with the big 5 says, how does this relate to homesteading in Northern California?
Okay, how it relates to that is the reason why you can't really do major homesteading. It's a matter of pricing. So the entire housing market and the materials used to build them. You can see this happening in Canada really, really easily. Because in Canada is full of wood. There's no reason why Canada's wood prices are insanely high. It makes no sense. You have all the wood, your wood prices should be low. So why are they making sure you can't build new houses? Why, for example, are 3D printing technologies that could build houses in an instant not being allowed in North American, and even here I live in Australia, Why isn't it being done in Australia, where you don't have foundation issues and all those other? You could just be doing 3D printing like a motherfucker out here.
Well, isn't zoning a major part of that as well?
No,
No,
the
it's
bigger
What I was
the zoning.
talking about with bypassing all these regulations on housing, and he went off into the fucking woods.
No,
with
but
it.
it's all connected, my friend. It's all connected. All your regulations, creating an artificial price limit is feeding into the bond market, because the bond market has to have a fixed price.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but what I'm also saying, in like various U.S. states, we don't have freedom in America. Okay, you're not freely allowed to build whatever the fuck you want here. That's the fact of the matter. That's what a lot of people don't know. It's so fucking bad that there's like different neighborhoods and shit like that. They will tell you, okay, pick one of 3 styles. That's it. You can't do anything outside of one of these 3 fucking styles. They're not going to let you 3D print a home, because that's not one of the 3 rustic styles they chose in the 1960s.
Point is, even if they allowed you that freedom, it wouldn't matter, because the price has to be tied into a bond market that is giving out preferred rates.
I'm saying remove the bond market. We have created a structure in which we're still not allowed to do that.
You can't remove the bond market.
No. I'm saying regardless of that. No. I'm not saying remove the bond market. You misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm saying even if the bond market was not a factor, we literally have laws that would prevent us from building things like 3D printed homes and shit like that.
The reason why you have, here's the thing. The reason why you have those laws is because of the bond market. Here's an interesting thing. Here's an interesting fact. So for investment law, if you're going to invest in, let's say, the Wall Street, right? Like you're going to be an investment banker, a hedge fund on Wall Street. The list of rules that you have to apply to are buckets, right? Like they're huge. You know what the rule set for bond market investing is? It's about this big. It's like 10 pages. I'm exaggerating, but it's not very big. The rules and regulations to the bond market are almost zero, because that's where all the big money goes. So I'll give you an example. Right now, here's a rough estimate. The international bond market with the derivatives market on top of it is worth around $4 quadrillion. Okay? Let that number sink in. It's infinity.
Yeah, it sounds fake. When I hear that, I immediately say I need to fact check that. That sounds fake. Like that's one of those insane numbers. I'm not doubting it. I'm just saying fact check it.
So derivatives add on to the actual bond market. So whatever number you can come up with a bond market price at, like the international bond market, you have to multiply that by 100, if not more, because derivative markets basically are betting against each bond. So there's bonds upon bonds upon bonds upon bonds upon bonds, right? This led to the 2008 housing collapse. This is like junk bonds for 2008. You ever watch The Big Short?
Yeah.
They're revealing a small little bit of this. That's a
well, no.
market,
Weren't those mortgage-backed securities though, or is that also considered under bonds?
The Wolf of Wall Street made his money. The Wolf of Wall Street made his money on junk bonds, on penny bonds. A penny bond is a derivative, right? So it's taking an actual bond asset and betting against it in a penny stock. So it's creating a derivative. Now you multiply those derivatives 1 million billion trillion times, you suddenly get 4 quadrillion. Like I'm saying,
yeah, you get absolutely insane numbers
because it's just infinity. Like don't worry about it. It's too big to calculate.
In the mortgage market, they call them synthetic CDOs. That's what they call them in the mortgage market.
There you go.
Now what they're called is bespoke tranche opportunities. That's what they call.
Why is BlackRock whose number one holding is 401ks? Right, BlackRock almost only exists in pretend money. I'll give you an example. Here's a whiteboard. Okay,
he has a whiteboard.
I got a whiteboard for all the slow
you
boys
all
out there.
suck.
I know. This is
while you're getting your whiteboard out.
Hey.
Sarcastic Saint comes in with a big.
Look, I'm just ready to listen at this point. We're talking about big shit, okay?
Fine, Sarah, you made a good point. So Zer's in the back for 5 and put down the bong. You and Ryan can sing show tunes in the back while you wait. Enjoy. That's like another step later. Not yet, but later. StreamYard actually has a green room capacity. And so I think I want to eventually, it's a little more pricey, but I think, I think you can like put like 25 people back there.
20.
But
yeah, it's like $100, isn't it, Sarah? It's like $100 for that, isn't it?
Oh no, it's way more than that.
It's more than that.
I pay annually. I pay annually for the because I am like a level down from that. But there's like most people just have 10 seats in the back and that's it. I have 15 back. But the next step up would be a green room, and I think I want to. I think I want to venture out, not yet, but later, and because then you guys can have the conversations in the back. You can sit back there and twiddle your thumbs and do stuff, and so we'll see about that because then the people that are hanging out backstage can still be like having their own conversation, and they won't get quite as annoyed. And then long live Liberty in with the big 5. USA service people who married green card applicants with or without kids. Should they take priority? If so, to what extent? And should it be fast tracked?
Take priority for what?
Yeah.
Housing?
I don't know. Long live Liberty.
Yeah.
Priority of what? That's a good question because.
Yeah,
Like-
that doesn't give a value statement onto the applicant.
And
But Sarah,
Balderson's, when you were talking about the homestead and that. So what I can tell you from a development perspective, and that's one of the biggest frustrations on our part, is people talk a lot about affordable housing. I spend $50,000 before I move a spoon of dirt. So I totally get where Balderson's coming from.
No,
And that's,
I know Balderson might think I'm objecting to his claims. I'm just trying to explain them.
No,
Who
understood.
has-
But
I
I
just
just want to
don't
make sure that he
understand where
understood
you're
that from a
going.
development.
Which one? Okay, I'll show. I'm going to
It's
demonstrate
apples and
exactly where I'm going.
oranges. I don't think
No,
you understand.
Balderson,
how
do you
homesteaders
have
don't
do
pay-
you have
we
a
don't have insurance. We don't pay. You have to buy cash. I can't get a loan.
Okay.
I had to pay cash for my land, and
I'm gonna
they
explain
don't
it to you.
regulate my home.
I'm going to explain it to you. Do you have a dollar on you? Do you have a USD dollar on you? There's someone in the chat. Someone on the screen. Can you hold
I
up an
probably do.
American dollar?
It's the only. dollar
I
I've
have
ever
all
had.
mine on card, sadly.
Okay,
Hundreds.
great.
Is it on the 100 that you're looking
Lumberjack.
for?
Yeah, it's perfect. Just hold one up. Okay. So that is legal tender. You go to a store, you can exchange that for whatever you want for the equal value of that dollar.
Yes.
This, let me see if I can get it on the screen, is also money. This is called an offshore dollar money. Okay.
Can I have it?
See this, right?
Mine now.
You can take your own whiteboard or piece of paper and draw a dollar on it. This is also money. Okay. 9/10 of all USD in the world today are these, not those. Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's your derivatives market. So one of the things about the Trump tariffs,
I
why
know
did
how
Trump
the
do the
fractional
tariffs?
reserve works. Yeah.
Great. So so why did Trump do the tariffs? To suck in USD. Why? Because USD was being devalued. Why? Because every single one of these, no matter who is being lended out to, Bangladeshi guy in Bangladesh who goes to his US HSBC and says, I like $100 million, please, do my rice importer exporter business. They go, okay, no problem. You can borrow it in Bangladeshi bucks with a much higher interest rate because Bangladesh, right? Or you can borrow it in USD, which for the last 30 years, the interest rates have been going down. So he goes, well, I'm going to borrow it in USD then. So more of these are created. What happens when they create more of these is they don't create treasuries to go along with these. The bank is just basically given an assurance that they can create more of these. What did Glass-Steagall, when the Clintons got rid of Glass-Steagall, they got rid of the upper limit on these. So the banks can produce as many of these things.
Yeah,
as
that's
humanly
what
possible.
devalues the dollar.
Right. That's why your dollar ain't worth shit. And who's holding the most amount of U.S. treasuries? Japan,
China.
Germany, and China.
China.
I
Right?
like this guy a lot.
That's why they're selling. That's why they're selling it off like crazy right now, because they realize that they're holding on to a devaluing system. So
Yes.
to answer your question, Balderson, to answer your question, okay, there's two things you got to keep in mind. Let's look at two markets that are really key to this: the housing market, which is inflated across the entire West, and oil prices. Janet Yellen, that wonderful communist,
Oh, God.
set oil prices under the Obama administration at $70 a barrel, and it hasn't moved at all.
Oil prices are down.
If you want to understand it, now they're going down now, but they were set
They were down
under
during the
Janet
pandemic
Yellen.
too. Well,
Under Janet Yellen, they were set at $70 a barrel, and they did not move for years. Why? They're setting the bond market to the price of oil, and that was their goal, to maintain a stability, to maintain the bond market, because that thing is about to collapse. And when the bond market collapses, say goodbye to all your shit.
Yeah, the whole thing collapses. Yeah.
And
Right.
speaking
then we're
of
like Greece.
collapsing,
that's my
sarcastic
spiel.
Saint sends a big 5 and says, "Okay, all of you males on the panel, shush. and let the woman with the great boobas speak. Sorry,
Yes.
Sarah.
Let the
It's not
boobas-
you.
no-
It's
True.
Nova Star.
Nuzzle, Sarah.
So please let me read the fucking super chat. Now I'm gonna start all over again. I
Please
hate
do.
being interrupted during a fucking super chat because I like to speak it the way that I feel they're voicing it. Sarcastic Saint in with the big 5 says, "Okay, all you males on panel, shush and let the woman with the great boobas speak. Sorry, Sarah, it's not you. It's Nova Star. Silver in the back for 5. Yes, we all know that I am the team captain of the Itty Bitty Titty Committee. Proud, prideful. I carry many trophies and participation ribbons for it. However, Nova Star does not belong on that team.
I'm just
It's not
chilling.
allowed.
That's what I'm doing. All right, I'm
So,
chilling,
yes, Nova,
looking for
what is your
positions, and just
Well, don't forget,
making the
you've got
points.
the
All
trophy
right,
for
people want me to
best ass
spurg, but I haven't had a reason to spurg. Okay, most
See?
people actually agree
See?
with me
She's
pretty
got
well on
pics.
this panel.
I'd like to be.
Cake,
I'd like to
gentlemen.
reconsider. I'm submitting
All of
pictures.
us
See,
dancers got
this
some cakes, I'm telling you
is
right
actually
now.
my point of what I mean, where
agree
most people like
with Jason.
agree
We
with
are
me for the
headed
most part. Like, yeah, I could fight with him with the stupid shit. However, why should I fight with him about like Trump tariffs and shit like that when the debate is about public housing? And well, me and him are agreeing on public housing. So like, this works for me.
But I'm staying for the opinion.
Like this works for me. This is fine. Like this guy I can work with. You know, maybe like legitimate policy we agree with.
Go, hey, here, take this property. It's because everybody wants it. Like California is like some of the most desired, property, bar none, in America. So they're not just going to give that away to squatters. Hell no. They want you to pay for that.
Well, here's the interesting
Maybe
thing,
in
right?
Baywatch, out here, they can't get rid of $7,000 parcels that are 10 acres.
Where are you, past
Maybe.
Reading? Are you close to Weed? Like, where are you?
No, I'm in Humboldt.
Oh, you're in Humboldt? Oh my
Yes.
God. I almost bought property in Humboldt 5 years ago. I'm kicking myself in
Yeah,
the
once
ass. No.
once the green rush collapse, these properties aren't worth shit.
I know.
You got to go in and do a bunch of sweat equity and labor to make them look decent. But what do homeless care about that?
They don't.
Well,
I just have to wait for Coder to speak, and then I'll fight with him. Okay?
Is that eventually we
just
might
have to
live
wait for him to
someday
speak.
when we decouple equity from the housing market, which is how it used to be. Up until really
How
until
long
post
ago? May I ask how long ago?
the post-war, like
Oh my God, look at
the
him.
idea of owning
Coder's
your own
mad.
home
He's so
was
mad.
pretty,
Oh my God, we're about to get a
abstract, other than if you
spurg.
lived in rural
Holy
areas.
shit, he's
To
so
own
mad.
your
Look
own
at
home in
Coder.
a city center
Oh,
up
he is
until,
so
like,
mad.
1945,
Oh my God.
1950 was absurd. That's why
Yeah.
they created the suburbs, right? It just didn't exist. And then as soon as they created the suburbs, they created an equity market to the housing. So the idea that you could sell your house for more than you bought it, I mean, relative terms to just general inflation,
Mhm.
was a new thing that didn't hit until the 80s and 90s, until the 1990s. That wasn't really a thing. You bought a house, you maintained it, maybe you passed it on to your kids. But the house itself never really increased in value, right?
No,
Other
not
than
like
maybe
that.
maybe the
No,
base
it's the
land.
Not to
Right?
the degree it does
remained
today.
stable. Right. To the degree where people now, boomers, can sell their house for
No, it's not even
100x.
boomers. It's like a
million.
decade later, and you're selling it for like 30% profit. It's ridiculous.
Here, let me tell these people here on the panel who aren't from California. Dingbat traditional homes, small, no property, the smallest backyard you could practically find. We're going for like 100, 250,000, and then after the Fannie.
See, I don't know why fucking chat is spurging out and telling me I need to engage more. Okay, I just engage like that. You just wait.
Can you believe that?
You shoot
crap?
in. You get out. All right. It's quick in, get out. All right. We build in the reputation, and then after Sarah's just like, oh, welcome back, Avius. Thank you. I'm happy to have you. That is when we're just like, what the fuck did you just say?
What do you mean?
But until then, we're operating through stealth. Okay, that's what we're doing. Operating through stealth.
Yes.
Well, like one of the things that you
So,
see with the Canadian
Jason-
market where it differs, one of the things you see in the Canadian market where it differs from the US market is that much in the Canadian market, it's not fixed rate debt. It's not 30, you can't get 30-year fixed rate debt. The other challenge
Well,
too
they
is
changed it now, but a little bit, yeah.
well, it will change, but it's not been historically, it's not been there. And
Right.
so the other thing too is that while we have hundreds of different banks that we can lend from and then or borrow from, and then some of them will portfolio them and others will just service them and sell the debt to Fannie Freddie. There's nothing like that in Canada. There's really 3 core banks that actually put out those mortgages. And then the third piece to that is that when rates went down to 1%, guess what happened with the values? Because everybody was buying based on payment. Now the challenge is that when that debt resets at 3, 4, 5 years, now you're not talking about a $3,000 payment anymore. Now you're talking about a $7,000 payment. Now everybody's house poor unless they want to lose their homes. But that was the issue.
Join the Discord. Join the Discord. Join the Discord. Join the Discord. All right. One more time. Join the fucking Discord. If you don't like me, join the Discord. It's that simple. Join the fucking Discord.
Right. That
in the side chat, in the fucking chat, join the Discord. You won't regret it, or you will regret it. Either way, join the fucking Discord. That's all you got to do. Just join the fucking Discord. We will build it strong, big and mighty. It'll be better than Destiny server. Okay, so join the fucking Discord. That's what we're doing. Bigger and better. Join the Discord. That's it.
For that adjustment, mortgage rates do as well. But if you're in a fixed mortgage rate for 30 years, you're fucked. Because
do you see the rates going down? Because I'm in the market right now to buy. I'm looking for property. I don't think so either.
I think rates are going to be flat.
Yeah, I think rates will be flat, but value will go down.
Yeah,
that's the big sink.
Value
right?
only goes down. Value only goes down when there's demand destruction. Demand destruction comes from the
jobs.
That's
right now. No, hang on. No, but we're already getting reports now that there are more sellers than buyers right now, and it's
yeah, but you got to look at those because I actually read those numbers and I actually know what they mean, and I'm not saying you don't. Right. But if you look at the numbers aren't. That's not necessarily the case. What that is for the ultra high end home. A lot of those are being put on the market, but the challenge is this. They're being put on the market at $2 million. The person bought it 2 years ago for $1 million.
The problem is
sell it and they only get 1.2 million. They still made $200,000.
Isn't the vacancy rate in the United States incredibly low as well? Like that's the issue. There's incredible. Yeah, it's incredibly low with high demand.
Right. The biggest issue is we did 20 million homes every single decade from 1940 until 2010. We did 20 million homes. From 2010 to 2020, we only did 4.5 million homes. So now we have 15.5 million homes that we have to basically build. And while we started off at a torrid pace, it didn't start right at COVID. It started right after COVID. And while they're trying to add all these units, the problem is that we have to go from 20 in a decade to 30 in a decade. And we got to do that for the next 20 years, which is going to be really, really hard.
And COVID didn't kill off enough boomers.
You know what? So saying it a little bit more nicely, more of them, plenty of people are still alive, thankfully, through COVID. But yes,
I mean, it dropped our life expectancy. Okay, I think it did enough.
Right, but from the upper end
of expectancy. Thank you to the chat for all of your lovely super chats. Sarcastic Saint actually timed out Duck in the chat. That is something you can do. You know, the options. I'm going to use Paige as an example just so I could see Paige. If I accidentally hit a timeout, I apologize. For timeouts, you could do 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, or a full 24 hours. A full 24 hours would be for the chat. That would be $100 for a full 24-hour boot. But outside, because that could affect the next day as well if we stream the next day, and I don't think that's fair. So you gotta have to pay for that. But yeah, of course, $1 a minute, starting at 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, and 24 hours. So that goes in that realm. So, and then wealth building journey followed it up to add another 5. I apologize, Doc, but this is what happens when you say weird shit. Long live liberty.
Can't do that.
The Big Ten says, how should single guys like myself find a good woman to marry? And where are all the good women that want to have kids, which bad guys cannot touch? Church?
Yeah.
Church.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Or my wife, she's amazing.
Definitely not dating
country clubs.
Country clubs is an excellent one. I'm not even going to lie.
How touchy do you like things? Like, do you like things a little touchy? I mean, country clubs are a little touchy. It's okay. You know, like a little touchy is fine.
Where are you in Australia, Jason?
All right, Sarah. It's been a group, but I'm an older guy. And I got to move because the clock on the wall. But I really had to go because I'm gonna tell you this, and there's no disrespect to anybody on the panel. My mom had 18 kids, and she only breastfeed kids, every other kid, and I happen to be one. She didn't breastfeed. I've been traumatized all my life. So the young lady who's beside you is bringing it.
I can see it.
So that I relate, I relate, my friend.
The young lady who's beside you is bringing up some old memories, and so I must go to bed.
Yeah, I was also one of them. Wasn't provided for.
Memories.
But look,
I wasn't breastfed either. I understand your
Yeah, see?
So you got it right, because I'm drooling. I wipe my mouth a couple times. But anyway, Sarah, it's good to first time I seen Jumbo Jack, it's good to listen to his story. But you know, Jumbo Jack, the most important thing you said, it really brought me up here. I like the way you include your family into your business, brother.
Yes, sir.
That's something we're missing in 2025. Everybody's so separate. I like the and I like the way you include your family, because I believe that structure is what kept you balanced and seek out your journey for humanity. Peace and love, and always strive for the truth. Everybody have a good one and amazing Friday.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Jay, reach out to me. Jay, reach out to me so we can get you your own Throwdown Thursday and make you the guest feature.
All right. Thank you for the invitation.
Bye, Jay.
All right.
Absolutely.
I didn't see
Have
the
a good
girl
one,
on the
Jay.
horse tonight, but the
Whoa, 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 whoa,
girl on
whoa,
the
whoa, whoa.
This message is sponsored in part by.
For a while, I thought that was you.
You're gonna make a black man cry on stream. You're gonna make a grown black man cry on stream, Sarah. What are you gonna do?
How do you know it's not me, Jay?
Hey, look.
Could be.
I didn't want to tell the secret, but I'm still investigating that.
He's looking deeply into it.
Hey, everybody have a good one. This shows you, Sarah, you don't have to have shows on relationships and fighting. People are fighting time. This show tonight has been very informative as far as things that people can take and understand, and even people who want to get in the business of real estate as far as doing housing. So it's been a great show tonight.
Thank you, Jay.
I'll fight you.
Well said.
I'll fight you.
Thank you.
Jay, would you watch
I'll stand in for Jim Bob. I'll fight you. I'll catch you.
And Daniel sent in $5, and I apologize, Ryan. I think we both just both assumed it was you. The chat corrected me and said it was Blondie. So Blondie, you're in the back. For being a panel squatter, we all know I hate panel squatters.
Dun, dun, dun.
I want to say one thing to Blondie.
For the record, Blondie, I did not elect you originally to be booted. That was somebody. That was what TrippyCast. Someone else did that.
And then it might have been me on accident. Then
I just happened to agree with them. That's all. That's
Totally by accident.
So you just kicked Ryan because it felt good.
I just all I saw was Ryan's name, and I think that's
it's like muscle memory. She's like, all right, time to kick Ryan again. I did want to say one thing to Blondie. Real quick, one thing to Blondie, who was kicked. He said something about avoiding dating, and I don't want to say like just go to dating apps or whatever. I definitely don't encourage people to only look for relationships on dating apps, but I think it is important to know that like upwards of 50% of current relationships are come from online dating, and I think like 27%.
I got married from online.
Yeah, you got to be careful. So I met my wife through online dating. However, I lived in Nevada, and I literally had to move to Washington State to meet my wife, right? So like online dating can work, but you have to be very flexible to make it work sometimes.
I'm just pushing back against the I think people should be a little bit more open to diversity of tactics when you're looking for
Ryan. Can I put this out here though?
One more thing, and I'll let you go.
Just really quickly.
Well, I'm almost done.
It may not be online dating your problem. It might be your hair, but you just gotta calm that hair down. You just bring it.
I'm not worried.
Just a little bit, okay? Looking like a hedgehog. It's okay though.
He likes it.
I wanted article said church was the way. I'm looking at stats here. It says like only 3% of relationships are starting from religious or community gatherings. So I mean, I'm not saying don't go to church. I'm just saying like if you're going to church explicitly looking for a wife, you have a 3% chance. So it's not exactly the best odds.
That just means it's an untapped resource. Is what
That's good.
There you go.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, us tourists,
Listen,
we know.
listen to the nice lady with the
Numbers
tits.
game.
Come on.
Listen to both of the women. All right.
There you go.
And Sarcastic Saint says, oh, and sorry, Daniel actually corrected. Thank you, Daniel. Sorry, Ryan, that wasn't for you. And that was my bad, Ryan. But you're right. It was muscle memory.
Appreciate you,
And
Daniel.
yes, it was for Blondie. Sarcastic
Saint, I
Saint
think
with the big
something
5 says, Nova Star could breastfeed the whole nation of Simp
Rebel
Nation
Head.
and
Yes.
still have some left over for Jay. Silver in the
There
back
we
for
go.
5 and listen to show tunes.
Yay.
All right.
Whee!
And
And I posted that in the back, the source I found that on. So I mean, you could dig into the actual numbers, but that's just what it said in the article.
I'll
I
bet
like
if
following
more
it.
people,
But as
if more
Nova
people
said,
went-
like, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, as Nova says, an untapped resource. Like, look, here's the other thing you can look at in terms of stats. If you're a stats monkey, how many people are coming back to church? Where you already have numbers showing that Gen Z males are by capita, at least in America, if nowhere else, flooding back to church.
It's
So
going up in
already,
recent time.
so already,
Because there's
you're gonna-
nothing
you're gonna
better
have
to
an
do.
influx
No
number.
other purpose.
But are
Yeah.
Gen Z women also?
Doesn't matter if wherever the men are, the women go. Eventually,
I think it's the opposite, actually.
It's very
No.
much the opposite.
No,
If
that's
you
not
No.
look for women, dudes will sniff around the edge no
It's
matter
definitely
what.
the
It's
opposite.
Very much the opposite.
Ask
No.
Nova Star. If Nova Star knows that there's a bunch of eligible bachelors that actually have their act together and she's tired of dating shithead men with no points and bad hair, then she ends up going to she's like, yeah, sign me up. I'll go to any church for that. Like,
Yeah,
I like this guy.
We
You
go
know,
where
this
the men
this-
rally.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
Lumberjack,
hair
you
looks kinda
and I
fly,
got to
but
talk
okay.
more. We
anytime,
this
my
is,
man.
yeah, buddy.
Anytime. Anytime.
I see a friendship sparking,
Where,
and that's
where, are you in,
wonderful.
where are you
There
in
we go.
Australia?
I'm in Western Australia. I'm 3 hours south of Perth. I live in a
Why
beach
are you
Oh,
in
wow.
Australia?
because my wife's Australian
Very cool.
and COVID happened. So
Yes,
lockdowns
sure.
happened. My daughter was just born. My family in Canada is very small and dying out. Her family is much larger and not dying out. So it became a issue for my daughter to give her more family wealth, like not necessarily money, but family.
Yeah, heritage.
And that's been paying up. And there's there's lots of benefits. Like it's not about me, it's about her. So that's
Very
why.
cool.
Because I mean, honestly, I don't wear shorts and I hate the beach. And I live by a beach town. It's fucking insufferable. And I live in
I don't wear
Australia.
shorts either, man.
Yeah, man. There, see, no shorts crowd.
I don't wear shorts.
So weird.
It'd be 120 degrees.
Yeah,
Shorts-
I'm the same
shorts
way.
are shorts are for women, children, and queers. That's it.
Uh-huh.
I think I have to agree with that, actually.
I knew it.
Yep, factual. There we go. It's been proven.
Yeah, take them off right before fucking your moms.
You know what? If you're
Y'all
willing to do
thought
that,
you
go
were
ahead.
based. Y'all thought you were based, but that was advice from my Ukrainian grandfather, who I've carried forward for
Hell yeah.
40 odd years, and it's just
That's great. So anyway, I wanted to pull it back to something I was saying earlier about the amount of 'cause I posted a link in the back about it's from the 2023.
Sorry, is this your opinion or your hair's opinion? I just want to.
Don't worry about it. You can try to follow, and we'll come back to it.
It's the hedgehogs.
So it's I posted.
Ooh, ouch.
Okay.
Wait, what happened? Oh, it's just me. Just me
Just
and
me and
Beast.
you.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you're welcome to try to talk over me. But I was just going to point out that this was actually for Lumberjack, not for you. I don't really I don't have any specific contentions with you.
Dun dun dun.
Not yet. I can make that happen if you want.
I don't.
Get him,
yet.
Jason.
But I was just
Get him.
sharing
Get him, Lumberjack. Do it.
From the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban
Fucking
Development,
get him.
And I wanted to
Sick 'em.
specifically reference.
Kill 'em.
It seems
Tear
like
'em
about
apart.
10%.
Do it.
So it's let's see, out of a $30 billion budget, and $26 billion to HAP renewal funding, which I assume you know more about what that breaks down to. But the specifically administrative fees is what I wanted to point to, which is only about 2.8, and I'm rounding up 2.8 billion, which is about 10% of that. So if
you're
40%, hang on, Jason, almost done.
If you're gonna use stats, be more
I'll
confident.
be done in
Be more
just a second.
confident.
I'll be done in just a second.
Be
Well, I
confident.
mean,
Bring some bass in your voice.
Well, I mean, don't worry about my voice, buddy. Okay, I appreciate you. But
giving
so
advice.
if that's about 10%, if there's about 10% that's going to administrative costs, and we're cutting 40%, it seems like we're going to be cutting things that are not just going to administrative costs. Like 30% that's not just going to administrative costs, right?
That's math. But the issue is that you believe everything you read on the internet. Like men can have babies too. I bet
Right.
you believe that too. So at the end of the day,
That's cute. That's a cute deflection. But I'm
No,
posting
that's Ryan.
specifically from the housing,
Here's the problem.
specifically from the
People
housing and urban
can
development.
blog
It's not
all
just
day long.
everything I
It
read on the
doesn't
internet.
mean
It's
Ryan,
not just an
shut
article
up.
from the fucking New York
Shut up.
Post. or
Shut
anything.
up. Listen.
Okay.
Ryan,
You just asked somebody a question. Shut up and listen.
Ryan, you
Coder.
read these
And he
things-
threw a fucking punch. He threw a punch instead of
Coder,
answering the question.
stop
Go
it,
ahead.
Coder. You
like they're
can't do this,
facts,
Coder. You'll
and they're
die.
merely somebody
They'll
that's
get you,
misguided
Coder.
opinion That doesn't have the expertise.
They're
All
gonna
I'm
sick
telling
you.
Is that when it comes to pushing housing to the states and pushing and getting it out of the federal government, I believe that they would do an actual audit of the program, understand this is what the cost is of the administration on the federal side of it, and if that proves that they have to cut vouchers to move it to the states, then I'm not in favor of it. It's just that simple.
Okay, well, I think that you should dig into that and find out that you probably shouldn't be in favor of what's
Hey,
happening
Ryan,
right now.
what
And also, I don't
caused-
think you should
no,
just.
no,
Yeah.
I think you should. I think
Ryan,
you're
you should-
accusing the.
Ryan,
I think you're
what
accusing
caused
the
you
U.S.
to-
Department.
I'm
I'm almost done.
actually involved in the
I think you're accusing the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development of fraud right now.
Yes, I am. So, Ryan, what
In this
cause
report
have you
specifically,
picked
in this
up- No,
specific
no,
report, you're
Ryan,
accusing them of fraud.
Ryan, what cause have you picked up that you've actually affected change? Because I think you're an impotent male. That's what I think.
That's adorable. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what you think. I think you're a liar who misleads people, and you don't want people to understand. You don't want people to understand the facts.
Why
and
would you
actually
say
just wanna
that?
Give people a little
Don't
tips
say
and
that.
tricks. And I'm sure you help plenty of people.
That's
you actually want to
fucked
give
up.
people a real understanding of what's going on in the country. You're making it harder for them to understand those things by lying to them about this stuff.
Stop it, Coder.
Is that you sit
Stop
there
it.
reading statistics off the website.
Don't
and
do
you're not
it.
actually
Trying to learn things, yeah.
They're sicking them, boys. They're doing it.
Ryan,
Don't
is
worry-
GDP?
don't worry
hang
about
on,
me.
hang- let's answer this for a second. okay?
I've educated. I'm
Ryan,
an educator.
here's-
I've taught hundreds
it's
of people
gone
how to
well.
code, thousands
Great,
perhaps.
cool,
Oh,
awesome, awesome.
congratulations.
Here's
Yeah,
a
thank
question
you.
for you, Ryan. Ryan, here's a question for you. Stop talking for a second. Here's a question for you. Is GDP line go up good?
Not inherently, but generally, yes.
Correct answer,
generally,
but
yeah.
now you're
So
gonna
what is
die.
GDP?
Don't say that. Okay,
Christmas.
yes,
why is
Coder
GDP
gave the
line
right
go up
answer, but now he will die.
does any of this
All right,
have
you
to
don't
do
say that
with
right
what I'm
now.
pointing
You say
out?
that
What is-
later.
what is-
Now he will die.
Can you just get to the point instead of doing this weird Socratic bullshit?
No, I'm trying.
Yeah,
I'm trying
answer,
to
ask
it's
the
like your
questions
worldview.
the way he wants them asked, Jason. Ask the questions the way he wants them asked.
Yeah, sure. But
or just explain something specific instead of like doing this weird walk around, beating around the bush.
no, I'm not being around the bush. I'm trying to understand your worldview. 'Cause
are.
I'm not assuming your worldview.
Don't worry about my
trying to
worldview. Why don't you
establish-
address the specific things I'm asking about?
I'm trying to establish your worldview. I have to worry about your worldview to
You
establish
don't
it.
actually. You don't have to understand my
Yes, I
worldview
do.
to understand.
Yes, I
You
do.
don't want to understand the worldview
Why
of
would
the
I?
US Department of Housing and
I'm
Urban
doing you a
Development, not
kindness,
mine.
asshole. I'm doing you a
citing
kindness.
them. I'm citing
I'm doing you
them,
a
not
kindness.
me. It's not my opinion. I'm giving you
I'm doing a
facts from
mercy. I'm
from
doing
this
a
fucking
mercy.
report.
I'm doing a
And
mercy.
You're
trying to
saying we
learn you
shouldn't trust
something.
this report, so I want you to give me a reason not to trust this report, not your feelings about it.
It's not my feelings about it. I'm trying to
It is.
expose your worldview to your own worldview. So if you think that GDP is inherently good, the GDP line go up.
I didn't. I
inherently
said
good.
it's not inherently good. I literally said the
You just
opposite of
did.
that, but okay.
No, okay.
I said it's not inherently good, but generally. Those are the exact words I said.
Okay, it's generally good. It's generally good, right? So GDP line going up is generally good. Is that your worldview?
Generally good, yes.
So explain to me why, in your worldview, why that's generally good.
Because when we're producing more things, that's generally the sign that
Okay.
society is doing more prosperous things, right? Just
Okay,
in
so
general?
then please contend with me why in Germany between 1932 and 1937 the GDP went up by 55%. Was that inherently good?
Well, okay, are we going to go back to the part where I didn't say inherently good? That
Was
would
that
be an
generally-
example of it not being
was that
inherently
generally-
good.
Was that generally-
Coder.
Was that generally good?
Coder, okay.
Was that generally
Coder,
good?
you don't do this, Coder.
No, dumbass.
Okay,
Don't
so
do this,
GDP then
Coder.
is not a symbol of generally or inherently or any kind of
Coder.
good. It's just
Generally
just a
inherent
number.
are very different like modifiers, dude.
It's a number. It's a number. It's a
No
little
shit,
picture-
yeah,
It's
it's
a
a
little
number,
picture
yeah.
of a number, right? It doesn't actually mean.
You realize you're
anything
not
outside of the
addressing
number.
anything that's been said. You're just saying like, wasn't it bad when Hitler raised
No,
the
you're
GDP by
applying
doing the
a value-
Holocaust?
This is how I
You're
feel
applying a-
talking to Hornet.
you're
I'm going to be
applying a
honest.
value
This
to a number.
this is exactly how I feel talking to
bad?
Hornet.
Are you applying a value to a number? Are you
I'm
applying
applying
a
you
value?
being stupid. I'm applying you being like moralistic about this in a really like
Right.
dumb.
So there's
way.
so but
That's
but,
what
but
you
good
believe.
is but so good is not a moralistic statement. Good is just something you say. is
Dude,
good
what are
and
you
moral
on
statement.
about? This is all deflection. No, see what's happening is neither of them
No,
want to
it's
actually
not.
talk about the data I brought up. They want to
No,
avoid
it's
it
not.
as much.
They're
as
never
possible.
going to
They
talk
wanna
about
be
the
as
data,
accurate
you
as can't
stupid
trust it,
fuck!
dig into it.
No, because you're
Stop it!
already ascribing good and bad to it.
Stop doing that. Stop thinking they're going to talk about data. They never care. No one cares. Move on, nerd. Shitty haircut.
Absolutely not. I don't think I know everything. That's why
Nerd. Don't talk about the data. They don't care.
Right.
They especially don't care after you try to explain the nuance in GDP. They understand line go up. Okay, if your talking point doesn't fit in line go up, you're failed. You're fucked. Okay,
Who do you think makes the AI?
needs to fit in line go up.
AI to make shit, dumbass.
Listen, I sold AI in RPA, and I had dozens of developers just like you. That they were
For the person who
arrogant
just
shit
joined in, we're just in the backstage while these motherfuckers scream at each other. Coder is getting literally skinned alive because he decided to try to explain the nuance of GDP to two conservatives.
We're gonna get the girl. We're gonna get the girl with the ass pretty soon. I'm gonna make a prediction. It's a very bold
So
prediction.
just to be clear, nobody has addressed anything I've said. All they've done is make personal attacks and make fun of me for teaching people how to code, which is super weird.
No, dude, we're trying to qualify your position. We're trying to qualify
But
your
you're not.
position and saying, okay, but dude,
very soy. Very soy.
you're trying to
I'm
say
okay
that
with
your
I
data,
like soy.
your
Fuck
data,
yeah, soy
your
is
data.
a great source of
Oh
protein. It makes my tummy hurt,
no!
but it's still a great source of protein.
No! Bro, stop talking about soy! No! God! Stop it! Bad! Holy fuck, he's talking about soy! Oh my god! Oh my god! No! I'm leaving the left. I can't do this. He brought up soy. Oh god. Look, there was already somebody saying I looked like the girl from The Ring earlier. Alright, this... I cannot be associated with the soy. This cannot happen.
Restate your point, for example.
Oh god.
Restate your point.
This cannot happen.
Is that according to this report,
citing somebody else's data that he believes.
yes, it's exactly because I don't make up my own data, unlike you guys apparently.
No,
So
I just
I'm saying that
experienced
according to
it.
this report, which you are happy to dismiss, you can dismiss this report if you want. I'm
Yes, I
telling you
do.
that according to this report,
I
that's
do.
fine, but you haven't given us any good reason to, except for your
No,
feelings.
I do, because the government tells the truth on everything, Ryan.
Only
the government tells the truth on everything.
Only
Vaccines are
10% of
awesome.
these funds are going
Stops
towards
the
administrative
spread.
administrative
100% fucking right, Ryan.
resources.
The stats are all there. It all says it. You're right. It's all there. The government's
Yes.
always
Now,
right.
there is actually a lot of information out there, and if you actually want to look
there
into
is.
these things
Prove
and
it,
really
bitch.
understand them and not just take
Ryan,
lumberjack
Ryan.
landlord's word for it, you should do that. You should actually look at that. You should look at it.
Ryan, let's boil this down a second. So you're saying that only 10% of what allocation of funds are going to
No,
administration?
he said
right?
3%. 3%.
I said 10%. I said 10%.
Whatever.
To be clear, I said 10%.
Didn't.
Okay, 10%. So 10% of
3% number was referring to churches earlier.
Okay.
No, it wasn't.
Ten-
It was-
ten-
it was
no,
not-
but-
Okay,
but-
roll the fucking tape back then.
Whatever percentage it is. Okay, what does this have to do with the housing market?
What do you mean?
Are we talking about the housing? What are we talking about? The housing market?
Yeah, we're cutting about. We're
He's
talking
worried
about
with
40 to 40%.
Hang on a
40
second.
to 44% cuts to this specific fund, right?
Right.
Okay, so if 10% of that money is going towards administrative costs, Lumberjack Landlord was
Right.
earlier saying that, so much of this has got to be going towards administrative costs. He cited the Red Cross,
Right.
saying 7% of this money actually goes to the
you-
targets, right? And so, if
yeah,
making
you could
that
tell her I'm
argument,
trans.
suggesting
Yeah,
that
I'm one of
most
those.
that
I'm one
money
of those
is not
trans.
reaching where it's supposed to go.
Okay, I'm not going to say that. All right, never mind. No, I'm not trans. Okay, I have kids.
Okay.
I'm a man. All right, and I'm not going to make the joke I was making. All right, that's it.
Relax. Stop
All right.
freaking out. Stop.
I'm not going to make the joke.
No.
I could make a joke,
I'm about.
but I'm better than that. I'm actually better than that. I think.
If he actually answers, then we'll see.
Do you want to take a minute?
No, I'm good. Keep going.
They have been talking for a while.
I see
Give me a
again.
minute.
This is going on an absurdly long time. I am kind of getting bored.
Exactly what you said.
How long
Wait,
can
a
they
minute.
flay Coder alive? All right. How long are they going to fucking tag team
Feeling
him?
good?
This is bad.
Feels great. This is where I fucking thrive, dog.
Oh. Yeah,
Oh my
I'm
god.
treated.
No,
Right.
Coder. Stop it, Coder.
Let's look at it this way. Right?
No,
So, like,
Coder.
Do you agree that USA just happened? The revelations out of Doge out of USA just happened, right? We live in a world where USA.
I think Doge was a scam. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, but so you think it's a scam because it's what did Doge reveal?
They didn't find any fraud.
They didn't find any fraud. They didn't find any
No fraud at all.
misappropriation. So no money was being put into different programs and not being disclosed to the American public or being allocated to the actual funds it was supposed to.
I think
That's your
funds
contention?
that were congressionally approved were going towards things they were congressionally approved for, which is how the
Right.
law works. That's how. The,
Okay, but
the
what?
funding
But
works.
those,
That's how
but those
it's
things that the money that money that was congressionally approved of was the money that was congressionally approved and those things that.
What does this have to do with what I was bringing up earlier?
I'm going to get to it. Right?
Well, hold on.
Do you think those things are above the line?
This
Do you
is
think
kind
that
of cancer.
that
All right, this was fun at
researching,
first, but it's going on a while, guys. How long can we flake Coder? Is this really what we're doing?
Allocation of funds.
Hey, hello,
Every single
hello.
thing that they were funding,
Okay,
or do you think that I have to say that they congressionally approved this funding?
We're just
right? Which is
we're
how-
watching
I'm just
Coder
talking
get
about
flayed
this.
alive.
If you
Okay,
wanna
just
change
sit
that, you
back,
can vote different people in
watch
Congress.
Coder get flayed alive. It's
I'm going to give
wait.
this to the audience.
Wait.
We're back.
Still hasn't addressed
We're
anything I
back.
said, by the
Oh
way,
my
guys.
God, it's happened.
We just did because you're so stupid you don't realize that you just owned yourself. You just owned yourself in front of everybody. So
elaborate how
your appeal to authority is as long as Congress signs off on it, it's fine. That's your world.
I'm telling you, that's how legally, yes.
Okay, fine, great. So we'll let the crowd decide. Audience,
Ryan,
give me some
guys,
Fs.
do you
Give me-
think the
give me
law
some-
should be
give me
followed,
some
yes
Fs
or
in the
no?
chat. Give me
Ryan,
some Fs in the chat.
Do you think the government was
That's my own dog. That's my own.
What?
Yeah,
What the
you
fuck?
guys- they really think they cooked there, but they didn't address anything I said, right?
There's nothing you said, asshole.
Nobody was cooking there. Okay, water was getting boiled.
I'll reiterate.
It's all
I'll reiterate
worldview.
since you think I said nothing.
Go ahead.
What I said was specifically that we have a 2023 report, okay, from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development that says about 10% of the funds are going towards administrative costs. And earlier, Lumberjack Jack was making the argument that 40% could be cut from that, and that would be administrative cost that could be cut. It's administrative bloat, and I'm telling you, apparently, only about 10% of that is. Now we can argue about whether that's true.
That's right.
We can argue about whether that's true, but nobody's even done that. They've just said to dismiss it. Nobody has brought up any alternative facts, or even alternative facts. Nobody has brought up any other data to look at. They've just said ignore that data because they hate you and they want you to be misinformed.
I hate you. That's what it is.
Yes, that is very true.
I hate you and I want you to be misinformed. That's my whole.
Sarcastic
Yes, you
Saint.
do.
Sarcastic Saint has sent in a big 5 to say, Ryan, you know nothing about housing and reading some article on
I'll post the link
MSNBC
in the chat.
website
Sorry,
and quoting it doesn't make you a genius. Stop
It's from
spurting.
HED.gov, by the way, not MSNBC.
Before you kick him, Sarah, I
Uh-huh.
want an answer to my question.
Sure.
Ryan, do you think the American government or the citizens of the U.S. gained anything from the government spending money to torture beagle puppies?
Torture beagle puppies. I don't remember the specific thing you're referring to. So
He's
possibly.
talking about Fauci.
Not only Fauci, there was several different
Yeah,
scientists
there's
who
others.
tested chemicals on
Potentially
beagle puppies.
Yeah, potentially.
Government-funded program.
I have no fucking idea what he's talking about right now. We're just gonna let him cook. Okay, we're gonna listen. We're gonna let him cook. We're gonna eat the meal, and that's what we're gonna do.
That was found to be frivolous.
But not fraudulent, though. To be clear, not fraudulent. You might think it's frivolous. You might not like it. You might think it's stupid. Other people might disagree, but it's not fraudulent. Otherwise, there would be charges, right?
Yes, because the government has deemed it to not be bad.
for fraud.
Must be good.
Can anybody name one person that's been arrested for fraud by Doge? Anybody?
Nobody.
Doge doesn't hand out.
Nobody has
arrests.
been.
Can you name a
That's a
J6
great question.
patriot who went to jail for insurrection?
All right.
We can talk about Blondie. We can talk about people who were arrested for engaging in an insurrection, but they weren't charged specifically with insurrection. But if you want to have a conversation about that, we can do it another day.
Well, if they're not charged for
Yeah,
it,
they were never arrested for insurrection. They were arrested for loitering.
No, but for organizing and trying to overthrow the government, yeah.
They were not.
Mm,
if they
whatever.
wanted to
They all
overthrow
get
the
free
government,
anyway.
it would have happened. That was
That's an easy way to get
Pile of weapons
kicked.
Across the river,
And breaking and entering.
you have no idea what you're talking about.
I.
Every time you open your mouth, I just hear
Okay. All right. Ryan, you got.
Just avoid the insurrection word, okay? I got kicked for $50 last week for saying insurrection. All right, don't do it.
So calm down.
Please shut the fuck up. Thank
Sarah,
you.
can I just really briefly? I feel like you need to put. I feel you need to put the cleavage next to you again.
No, shut up, please, for a moment. I put a new goal in the chat. We've hit the next hour, so you have 15 minutes if you would like to keep going. So far, you're 2 super chats in. You got 8 more to go. You can make it happen, or I can go to bed. I'm okay either way. Carrie with the big 5, just to say, gotta love the lefties. If you guys didn't have, but if you guys didn't have the lefties, then who would you be arguing with?
Each other.
There's always something to argue about, okay? That's just the facts.
And then
women's rights
Blake.
Yeah, see, there you go. You're already thinking of new ones.
Blake says, kick Miranchuk. He literally can't stop talking. All right, Miranchuk. We're going to put you to the back. Now, don't forget, you can buy him back up. If there's somebody on here who's in the backstage that you particularly like, you can bring them back. You can revive them. I've got Ryan hanging backstage and Jason hanging backstage. You can do it. And then Sarcastic Saint says, Silver is a Ryan clone and needs 5 in the back. I just brought him up with Ryan and enjoy the show
I just
tunes.
live in the back.
Silver. Lumberjack kicked your ass, so hush. We've got Nova and
You didn't
Sarah.
counter any of my
Oh,
points.
dude, go fuck a cat. Like, fuck off.
Just to respond to Ryan.
Yo. That poor cat.
Not really. He's microfax. It wouldn't hurt at all.
No.
What certain employees get paid, all of that stuff is public, all that stuff is verifiable. There are dozens of studies on what percentage of the cost goes to management and programs like this, and they found that it's 5 to 15%. So 10%, I'd say that's a pretty fair representation. But that's not all the money you're going to save. When you have a manager who is managing something that they're 5,000 miles away from, they have no personal interest in making sure that they get the cheapest lumber for the house that's going to be the most effective. And the difference these makes, I've worked for a real estate firm until my job got outsourced to a Filipino assistant. But the amount of cost cutting you can do by just actually negotiating, you have someone local doing it instead of someone 5,000 miles away in Washington. So yes, while 10% of cost is administrative, you're probably going to make up the savings of the other 30%. And even if they don't, oh well, the state can suck it. If your state has more homeless people, you can suck it.
We
State
actually
can take care of them.
we negotiate hard with the vendors. We don't negotiate hard with the workers. So we want to make sure they get paid, and we want to make sure that we're getting the product for as little as possible.
Yeah, and we had an in-house team too, and they do so much better because we all know each other. Nobody's gonna steal each other's tools. Nobody's gonna do a shit job on the foundation, and the house is gonna.
The other piece that you're talking about there too, Friendly, that's really important is there's not only overlap and all the bloat on the federal side, but there will be able to be, like, if there's assimilation, and instead of having 4 towns and 4 different housing authorities with all the same structure, there absolutely can be consolidation there. And will that mean fewer housing jobs?
5
Yeah,
likes.
sorry. Like, we
5
need to run
likes,
this thing
ladies.
like a business
That's
and
one of my
run more
most liked
efficiently. That's
streams.
just the way that it goes. And
But yeah, no,
if
like the
if
stream.
your
This is one
goal
of
in
my
life
most
is to
liked
live on
streams.
government
5
control,
likes. That's based.
then that's
All
probably
right,
not
thank
a
you
very
guys.
strategy.
We started from the bottom, and we're still at the fucking bottom, but now we're here, and that's what matters. And I appreciate you guys, so thank you.
Well, the issue, right?
All right,
so
we're
the
still
issue
at the
is
bottom,
that
but now
where
we're
we
here.
are,
So that
we don't have any
I appreciate that.
anything.
That's
We
5
only
likes.
have
All right, that's 5 more than
So
I
in
thought I'd
other
ever
parts of
get.
the
So
country, they have
I appreciate you
$100
guys.
In a county, right?
It is, but the issue is that there's no infrastructure on a county level to handle Section 8 housing. There's only infrastructure on a town level. So what it would take is it would take the assimilation of probably those 4 offices, right? And then make it more regional. But there are states that do it by county, and that can be more effective and a drastic reduction in cost.
Yeah, I agree.
And there's also a bunch of crazy zoning laws. I think the United States is literally the most expensive country in the world to build in. Great
Mike
Britain is
is
second.
hot. Does somebody have something going in the background or something?
Yeah, it sounded like a phone or something.
Yeah.
Was it me? Sorry
I
about
think
that
no
if
one's
it
running a
was.
bath. It's like that.
Sounded like a fan. If
ready
somebody
to
has
chill
a
out in the software.
fan, If somebody
Oh,
has
then
a
it wasn't
fan
me,
in
sorry.
their
Still.
background, sorry, Blondie, I interrupted, but I'm going to steal the mic for a second. You have 4 minutes to get 5 more $5 super chats or higher in. You can do it. Carrie sends in the big 5 to say dumpster fire. Yes, we love our dumpster fires over here. We're very into them. Matthew says bring Jason back. Unfortunately, you have to match what's going on. So he's down to 10 minutes now. So, or wait, is it 10? Yeah,